All right, greetings and salutations, everyone. My name is Kiorkof, and welcome to our Week 12 live stream kickoff with Kiorkof. We'll be talking for the next 2 hours about our, of course, lineups, trying to get ourselves ready for Week 12 in order to help us not only win this week, but get into our playoffs and then eventually win our 2021 Fantasy Football Championships. Good morning, everyone. Again, I will be here talking, mainly about the players that are to the left of me. Now, if you're wondering who exactly sits over there, well, those are my updated rankings as of this morning. If you want to go ahead and just get a lay of the land as to how Andrew is going to be approaching his overall start and sits for his multiple leagues across all of the fantasy football space. Obviously, all of the players that are to the left of me are players that are playing today and or on Monday. And the Thursday game, participants are no longer on the list, so it'll give you a little bit of a wider range of players that may be available in your league and you may be considering starting. Again, those are my top 36 wide receivers and running backs in a half PPR, followed by top 16 tight ends in a half PPR and top 16 quarterbacks in a 4-point per passing touchdown format. These are my predictions as to who I think will win as of today. Majority of them are the favorites, but that seems about right. And that's basically the lay of the land as to what is on screen. I will, of course, be answering questions from the chat if people send in donations to kind of jump the line. Again, there's a lot of you and one of me. If you do so, I do appreciate that. And also make sure you tell me what your scoring format is, and make sure you don't send in a message without attaching your question to it, because that happens quite more than often. And I have to always go fishing for what your question ended up being, and sometimes I can't find it because it's just too late in the stream by the time I get there. But either way, thank you guys for coming. Hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing well myself. Normal Sunday morning stuff. Scrambling to see who's playing and which final second replacements you can go ahead and throw into your lineup. All of that will be answered. Obviously, if any information comes out in the coming, I would say, 2 hours that could potentially affect our rankings, I'll go ahead and I'll update everything and we'll kind of play it by ear in that regard. Outside of that, we're good to go. Again, check out Underdog Fantasy if you guys have not yet already. You can go down to the description below and use promo code Andrew if and when you do so and you sign up today. Underdog Fantasy is willing to match up to $100, of your first deposit. I don't know why I said two, but either way, thank you, everybody. Let's get into this, shall we? I see the first question was sent in by Joseph Myers. Bright and early got in here. His question was, with Corey Davis likely being out for today's game, do you think Elijah Moore now has more upside than Jamar Chase? And would you start Elijah over him this week? Joe Hayden is out for the Steelers as well. I would not start Elijah Moore ahead of Jamar Chase. In very little realities am I ever going to risk it that much. I think Elijah Moore is a good play, but I think Jamar Chase is a safer overall option based on his body of work this season and the amount of targets he gets in his respective offense, and of course the stability at the quarterback position. Zach Wilson coming in could end up switching things up that we don't end up seeing. But either way, I do prefer Jamar Chase over Elijah Moore in that regard. I do understand the idea of trying to chase upside if you're in need of it, but in this specific regard, I would for sure play Jamar Chase today. Thank you very much, Joseph. I appreciate that. All right, Shane sends in a question. Says PPR, Fournette as an RB2, Elijah Moore in the flex. If Lamar is out, do I play Bateman or Freeman? Okay, I do not think, and there's been no information to kind of, insist on the idea that potentially Lamar is out. He's going to be playing. All the reports that I've read this morning is that he is going to be an active player today. So with that said, as to whether we're playing Bateman or Devonta Freeman, let's see, what was your format again? This is a full PPR scoring format. Let me go to my spreadsheet real quick. I'm fairly certain it's, let's see here. I need that Control F function so I can find, let's see here, Freeman, where art thou? All right, so we have Freeman there, and we have Bateman. Yeah, okay, so then I would play Freeman in that regard, and you're good to go. And then your follow-up question. Also, I have Ayuk and Hilliard. Okay, well, I mean, if you're playing, I'm fairly certain. Yeah, I'm playing Freeman over all of them. So Freeman ahead of Bateman, ahead of Ayuk, ahead of Dontrell Hilliard. Javonte Williams, if I should... Oh, no, it wasn't Javonte Williams. JW, if I should leave the lineup as is. Yeah, just leave the lineup as is. I would play Freeman. Okay, never mind. Now I completely understand. You're wondering if Lamar is out, would you play Freeman over Fournette or Elijah Moore? No. So I would leave the lineup as is. my apologies. Now I understand the full context of the question. You're good to go, Shane. Just leave the lineup as is. Lamar will be playing today. Thank you. Gucci Han Louis Han sends in the question. Says, my guy, do or die week. Do I roll with T. Higgins or, let's see here. What's the or here? All of a sudden. Okay. Or Rashad Bateman for my wide receiver 2 in a full PPR. Man, as much as I want to play Rashad Bateman, I don't think I think Rashad Bateman's like a safe 10 points. Nothing's really, been greater than that. Now that Sammy Watkins is fully healthy, there's probably a potential in which Rashad Bateman, he's probably a safe 10 points, and that's about it. While on the other side of this conversation, T. Higgins probably has a little bit more upside, and I think just as much of a floor. I know as of late he hasn't been the greatest, but, someone was mentioning it earlier. With Joe Hayden out, it doesn't just only help the potential of a Jamar Chase, but it also helps, the number 2 cornerback has to go cover the number 1 guy, and you got the third string, cornerback trying to cover T. Higgins, which is an even better overall matchup. So I'm going to suggest T. Higgins in that regard. There, Gucci Halloween, appreciate it. Thank you. All right, Kenneth Williams sends in a question. Says, quarterback 6 point per touchdown. 6 point per passing touchdown. Ben Roethlisberger, Mac Jones, Carson Wentz, Taylor Heineke. In a 6 point per passing touchdown format, Taylor Heineke is my suggestion there. Kenneth, appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hope that helps. All right, moving on. Let's see here. Next question came in via donation. Steven says, Devonta Smith or Javonte Williams, full PPR. I'd play Devonta Smith against the New York Giants defense. Bradbury is a great cornerback, but he has not played well all season long. He's kind of struggled at times against number 1 wide receivers, and I think Devonta Smith, he's in line for another one of those bigger performances, or at least, middle of the pack, better than 9 points, less than 20 points. So as of the last couple weeks, he's been in them, kind of in that spectrum of just being fantastic or below average. I think he'll kind of split the difference there. Thank you very much. Drippy Nick says Bateman, Odell Beckham Jr., or Brandon Cooks full PPR. Need one. I'd pick Brandon Cooks. Again, the Jets secondary is terrible. I'm going to give Tyrod Taylor the benefit of the doubt that he'll be able to get the ball in the direction of his number 1 receiver. Bateman, again, like I mentioned, in a full PPR is about 10 points. Odell Beckham Jr., again, we're not 100% certain as to what kind of role he's going to play. Of course, they're going to try to get him implemented as much as possible. But I think the safety, lies within just playing Brandon Cooks, who we already know is going to get a high volume of targets and has an extreme upside. So I go Brandon Cooks there. Thank you very much, Drippy. True Gentleman for You says, start 2 full PPR, Deontay Johnson, Cordero Patterson, if healthy, and Javonte Williams. Well, yeah, listen, if Patterson is healthy, and my assumption is that he is going to play today, that's why I have him ranked on screen, and that's why I don't have Aaron Jones. For those of you who are in the chat, perhaps asking, Andrew, what should we do with Aaron Jones? I just wanted it just to be, I guess, widely known. I don't expect him to be playing. They do have a bye week next week, and based on what we've seen throughout the last couple of years, and from interviews that I've even seen, I guess specifically from the Pat McAfee show, where AJ Hawk was referring to the medical staff of the Green Bay Packers. He said that medical staff over the last 10 plus years has been extremely conservative. If a player is even on any sort of slight potential for re-injuring themselves, they're not going to allow that player to play. We've seen that in the last couple of years. So my assumption, of course, is that he's not going to play. But anyway, referring back to your specific question, Deontay Johnson, Patterson, or Javonte Williams, I expect Patterson to play. I expect Deontay to be great. So those are my 2 suggestions over Javonte Williams this week. Though Javonte has a good matchup, he still has Melvin Gordon to deal with there for now. All right, thank you very much, true gentlemen. I appreciate that. Andy Wordlaw sends in a question. Says, Mike Williams, Elijah Moore, or Elijah Mitchell. I'd play Moore. Mike Williams is great, but he probably, at this point in a half PPR scoring format, even in a full, I think Moore is the best option there, Andy Wardlaw. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see here. Michael Myers sends in a question. Says, half PPR, Hollywood Brown, Devonta Smith, and Pittman. Start 2, bench 1. Who should I bench? I'm playing Hollywood Brown, and I'm playing Pittman in this regard. I'm pretty sure Hollywood Brown's going to play. I know he's been dealing with a little bit of an injury in the last couple weeks. I know he missed last week, but going into this week's matchup, he practiced at a limited capacity, but sure, he still did practice. Plays against Cleveland secondary that is not great and hasn't played pretty well for majority of the season. I think Hollywood is for sure playing in Pittman against Tampa Bay secondary. We know how banged up they've been all season long, so I'd go with those two. I just think that they have a higher overall floor and just as much upside as Devontae Smith presents for us. So that's my two suggestions. Thank you very much, Mr. Myers. Let's see here. Treaty Trench Mob says full PPR, flex, Elijah Moore, Cooks, Kareem Hunt, Elijah Mitchell. All right, very similar question. So overall, if it's between Kareem Hunt and Elijah Moore, I want to play Kareem Hunt, especially in a full PPR, but I think I'm fairly certain I do have, let's see here. Give me a moment. Let me check my full PPR flex. Okay, where are we at here with... Wait, where did it go? Okay, cool. I think it's right here. Here it is. So if we have Elijah Moore there, let's search this. Okay, I got a F3 function because I cannot see for the life of me. Okay, so if he's there, and then where the heck is Elijah? Okay, Kareem Hunt's below it. All right, yeah. So then I would be playing Elijah Moore. I want to play Kareem Hunt because I feel like there's touchdown upside there, but I think there's just as much with Elijah Moore. So I think it's between those two for sure. I think both of them are great plays, but I just roll with Elijah Moore in this regard. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Treaty. All right, let's see here. Tanner says Jamar Chase, James Robinson, or A.J. Dillon at the flex. All right, so I think it's between Jamar Chase and James Robinson in my eyes. I think A.J. Dillon's fine. I just think that the matchup isn't the greatest for him. While the other two options you have here is, of course, Jamar Chase against a banged-up secondary for the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you have James Robinson taking on the Atlanta Falcons, which, as a whole, is a great matchup. I'm fairly certain I'm going with the running back because you didn't mention half or full PPR. I think I'm still, even in a full PPR, I think I prefer James Robinson just slightly. James Robinson, I don't know, maybe... Okay, in a full PPR, we'll probably just lean towards Jamar Chase. But in a half standard, James Robinson's probably the king in this regard. All right, that's my suggestion there. Thank you, Tanner. Dakota says, Jacoby Myers. Ooh, okay, Jacoby Myers is already it's an interesting one, to say the very least. Jacoby Myers or Kendrick Bourne? I have Kendrick Bourne higher in my rankings. Versus Tennessee today. Experts lean Myers, but he has no upside. I agree. I 1,000% agree, and that's why I'm telling you to play Kendrick Bourne. I think Jacoby Myers, again, the only time he has scored a touchdown this season is in garbage time when Brian Hoyer was in at quarterback. He is very seldom used down in the red zone. That is pretty much territory in which Hunter Henry, Damian Harris are dominating this season. So if I'm picking one of the two to have a better game, I think Kendrick Bourne has already proven that he's more likely to do so. And get just as much target. So Kendrick Bourne's my suggestion there. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Jeremy sends in a question. Says 4 point per passing touchdown. Need to choose one of these streaming options between Wentz, Tyrod Heineke, or Mac Jones. All right, of the available options that you've mentioned, I prefer Taylor Heineke over the gang. That is my suggestion there. If I was to give you an order, I think it's probably in the order of going Heineke, Wentz, Tyrod, and then Mac Jones. I think Mac Jones is fine, but I always feel like that him having a 2-touchdown game is extremely rare because just this offense is so highly predicated on running the ball, and especially once they get down into the red zone, they're continuing to hand it off and siphoning touchdowns from his overall potential. So that's my suggestion there, Taylor Heineke. Thank you. Teddy H sends in a question, says pick 2, Rashad Bateman, Javonte Williams, Van Jefferson, Tim Patrick. I'm going to pick Rashad Bateman and Javonte Williams there. Thank you very much, Teddy. Dustin says Waddle or Hunt at the flex. Panthers defense or Eagles defense, full PPR. All right, let's look at our defensive rankings. I'm fairly certain I'm playing the Eagles. Yeah, I'm playing the Eagles over the Panthers, but my rankings right now in terms of the remaining defenses, top 3 already are Patriots, Eagles, then Panthers. So I don't think you can go wrong either way. As for the full PPR question between Waddle or Hunt, I mean, Waddle's pretty much going to catch the ball 8 times for, 60 yards minimum, and then everything else is just on top of it. So, he could very easily get himself 14 full PPR points without even trying. Do I trust him still over Hunt? Yeah. I think at this point, I'm comfortable just playing Waddle there. Thank you. Let's see here. Vatsal sends in a question, says, 2 guys coming back, full PPR, Patterson or Hunt? In a full PPR scoring format, I'd play Cordero Patterson. Thank you very much. Let's see here. Howard Jameson says, Antonio Gibson taking on the Seattle Seahawks or Brandon Cooks taking on the Jets. Half PPR scoring format, flex position. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go ahead and suggest Antonio Gibson. Actually, here's the thing about Antonio Gibson that scares me. If he doesn't fall into the end zone, he doesn't get enough PPR work to kind of solidify himself. And I wish it was a full PPR because it would be so much easier just to pick Cooks. Is Gibson going to fall into the end zone? He's been limited all week with his shin/calf injury, which has been really annoying. Damn. It's actually close. Let me go actually look at my ranking here. What do we have here? Where is Gibson in comparison to Cooks? We have Brandon Cooks there. Where do I have? And I have Antonio Gibson 3 spots below him. So I have Brandon Cooks at number 30 and Gibson at 33. All right. In a half PPR, we're playing Brandon Cooks. There it is. Send it. Thank you very much, Howard. I appreciate it. Michael Williams says Bateman, Coleman, Booker, MVS, or Freiermuth. Flex, full PPR. Honestly, I'm not playing Booker because Saquon's still active. I'm not playing Coleman. I'm not playing MVS because the inconsistency of just him in general has been something over his career that just hasn't been great. If it's between Freiermuth and Bateman, I'm going to pick Fryer. Honestly, I think he'll get just as many receptions potentially. The yardage is probably going to be in a similar, probably less regard, but the touchdown upside is certainly there, especially with Eric Ebron missing a lot of the rest of the season with the injury that he sustained on last Sunday night's game. Thank you. So Fryer's my suggestion there. Tiff Rivera says, happy Sunday. Need a win for the playoffs. Full PPR. I need to flex 1. Elijah Mitchell, AJ Dillon / Aaron Jones, DJ Moore, Kyle Pitts. Currently, Scary Terry, Gallup, Swift, Cook, and Gronk. If we're flexing 1 out of this group, let's see here with Pitts, Elijah Mitchell. Okay, so my suggestion in terms of flex would be AJ Dillon. So I'd go AJ Dillon there. As for what you have in your current lineup, Scary Terry's fine there because I'd play him over DJ Moore. Gronk over Pitts. I mean, we could probably agree to disagree. I think Gronk is still a top 5 play for the remaining tight ends. I have Pitts just slightly higher, but honestly, it could go either way because, Gronk has just as good. Actually, he has a better matchup overall in his favor. And as long as, Tom Brady keeps looking in his direction, he has a safe floor there. So I don't even mind that. And then you have Dalvin Cook, you have Swift. I know Swift's injury is tough. Gallup was able to pull through. Yeah, just A.J. Dillon there. That's my suggestion, Tiff. Appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see here. Anthony sends it a question. Says, part 1, full PPR. Need upside. A.J. Brown is out, of course. Unfortunate, but hey, injuries are going to happen. Ayuk, Crowder, or Judy are my options. Switch out anyone. We have Patrick or Van Jefferson available. Okay, so Ayuk, Crowder, or Judy are my options. If we're playing 1 out of the group, I think the highest potential is Jerry Judy. I think Ayuk and Crowder are both great. I just like Jerry Judy more, especially in the slot position. The way that receivers in the slot have been able to play against the Los Angeles Chargers as of late, something I want to key in on. And of course, I think it's 17 targets in the last 2 games that he's played, the most amongst all the wide receivers of the Broncos. So as long as Teddy Bridgewater keeps looking in his direction, Anthony, I'm fairly comfortable playing Jerry Judy there. I wouldn't go ahead and make any changes. I'd leave Patrick and Van Jefferson on the waivers and stick with the guys you have going forward. But yeah, Judy's my number 1 there. Number 2 would be Ayuk. Number 3, Crowder. Thank you. Let's hear. Brandon Diaz sends it a question. Full PPR. Damian Harris, Melvin Gordon, Devontae Freeman. I play Melvin Gordon there. Between the three of them, he has the highest upside of course, getting receiving work. So in a full PPR, that'll work to your advantage. And also has just as much touchdown upside as these other respective prospects. So Melvin Gordon's my suggestion there, Brandon. Appreciate it. Let's see here. What the heck is going on here? Let me check something. My apologies. Okay, where is it? Wait, what the heck? Did number 25 get deleted off this? I think I know what the issue is, guys. Now I know what it is. I knew there was an issue as soon as someone said no T. Higgins. I was like, I'm pretty sure I have T. Higgins ranked on screen. I know what happened. And I'm going to go fix that right now. Technical difficulties. One moment. I will fix that graphic, and then I will return in a second. While we're waiting, a couple more questions to answer. Michael Amato sends it a question. Says, morning, Andrew. Where is it? How much do you see Jay Wilson? I'm assuming that's Jeff Wilson / Sermon taking away from Elijah Mitchell today, coming off the injury. 12-team full PPR. Also Bateman or Ayuk. 5 through 6 need upside. Okay, so in terms of the question of Jeff Wilson, Trey Sermon taking away value from Elijah Mitchell, I mean, the way that this team's been running the ball as much as they have, with their primary back getting over 20 touches-ish, while their secondary back's getting about 10 touches per game, and Deebo Samuel's getting about 5 to 8 touches per game, they're running the ball more than 30 times plus. I mean, almost 40. I mean, that's pretty much the numbers that they were pretty much averaging in the season where they went to the Super Bowl. They were just running over every single team. So I think Elijah Mitchell is going to be in that 18 to 22 range of total touches on the ground, respectively. And then Jeff Wilson, because Trey Sermon's probably not going to play, Jeff Wilson will get himself 8 to 10 touches, and then you'll see the probably 5 touches from Deebo Samuel out of the backfield, and that'll be it. So I don't expect it to be that big of a detrimental kind of scenario in which they're siphoning the value. I think this offense just runs the ball that much more than any other team. Maybe probably secondary to the Eagles as of late, because the Eagles have been running the ball an unbelievable amount of times. So I don't think it's going to be that big of an issue to where it's hurting the team or hurting his overall fantasy upside. Of course, you'd love to see him get more touches, but I don't think any running backs, besides the Derrick Henry, is going to survive with 30 touches in that regard. And then your follow-up question to it was Bateman or Ayuk. At this moment, I'm probably just going to roll with Ayuk, slightly over Bateman. But Ayuk has been kind of low-key great as of late. It's just a matter of, can he keep it up? I think he will, specifically because of the Minnesota matchup. That secondary has not been healthy all season long, and the corner that's probably going to be covering him hasn't been playing well as of late. It's quite inexperienced. All right, really quickly, I'm going to update the graphic on screen because I knew that something was wrong. I had a feeling in my bones, and then someone was like, where's T. Higgins? Now I know what happened, because on my spreadsheet, number 25 is for some reason missing as of late. I think I just copy-pasted it incorrectly. And now we can go ahead and boom. Yeah, so when I was copying the text to throw it into my not Excel sheet, my Photoshop file, T. Higgins got cut off. And so let's see here. Did it update? Yes, T. Higgins at 25. All right, cool. Good to go. All right, coming back into this chat. Let's see here. Anthony sends in a question. Says, PPR Part 2, flex. Higbee, Damian Harris. I think that's Ramondre Stevenson, Nick Westbrook, Ikinnie. Also, keep someone from Part 1. All right, so yeah. I mean, look, if we're keeping someone from Part 1, it's Judy, and that's the Part 1. As for the Part 2, from Higbee, Damian Harris, and Stevenson and Westbrook, I'm going to play Damian Harris there. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Moving on. Let's see here. Where did it go? Because it just updated, and now the list is up. Okay, cool. All right, FF sends in a question. It says, half PPR, 2 flexes, Claypool Sutton, Hunter Henry, Logan Thomas, J.D. McKissick, or go get Burkhead, Latavius Murray, or Crowder. All right, Claypool, you're good to go there. I think the next flex I want to play is Hunter Henry. Those are the 2 I want to go with in a half PPR. So Claypool, Hunter Henry, thank you very much, FF. Mad sends in a question, says full PPR. QB, Okay, QB number 2. Sorry. No. Wait. QB2, RB1. No. Okay. So what you mean is 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 1 wide receiver, I'm assuming? Maybe not. I don't know. Cam, Stafford, Lenny, Barkley, Javonte, Jefferson, Ayuk, DJ Moore. I don't know exactly the number because you put QB2, RB1, wide receiver, and then nothing after that. So I'm just going to pick 1 quarterback. I pick Cam over Stafford. If we're picking 2 running backs, you're playing Lenny and you're playing Barkley. If you're picking 1 wide receiver out of that group, you're playing Justin Jefferson. If you can pick a second one, you'd play DJ Moore. And that's it. Thank you very much, Matt. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Cinco 2X says, start 2, Ty Johnson, Jamison Crowder, Marvin Jones. Ty Johnson, I think automatically gets a play in my eyes. And then if it's between Jamison Crowder and a Marvin Jones-esque wide receiver, which one do I actually prefer? I'm playing Jamison Crowder. I think there's, as great as Marvin Jones has been over the last couple of years, Trevor Lawrence is really killing his value, guys. It hasn't been enough to where it gives me enough confidence playing him. So I just roll with Jamison Crowder there with the anticipation that, of course, Corey Davis is probably going to miss today as he is currently doubtful to play. Thank you, Cinco. Appreciate it. MT says, Gesicki or Crowder in the flex? That's a great question. Mainly because it is a difficult one. If I have to play one of those 2 overall options, do I prefer Mike Gesicki or do I prefer Jamison Crowder? If it's in a half PPR scoring format, I think they both have just as much touchdown upside. They probably both get similar yardage. I'd say Mike Gesicki is probably the better play. I mean, in terms of, red zone targets, that kind of opportunity, Gesicki probably wins there. And in the yardage is honestly relatively similar. So, yeah, I go with Mike Gesicki. Thank you very much, MT. All right, let's see here. Retro Fan says, let's go, Brandon. Hashtag FJB. Okay, cool. Sounds good, Retro. I don't know what the heck that means, but let's go. All right. Anki says, full PPR. Judy, Higgins at the flex, Stafford or Cam. All right, Ankit, I would go with Cam over Stafford. I think the report that I read earlier today from the ESPN report that I read was that Stafford's dealing with an elbow injury and a back injury that is quote-unquote chronic, and it's got a chronic pain or something. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. If he's playing, I'm still starting him, but I do prefer Cam Newton over him this week. As for Judy and the other options that you did mention, I'm playing Judy. So, the other option was Higgins specifically. But yeah, I'm playing Jerry Judy there. Thank you. Joseph Eli says, hey, Andrew, how's it going? I'm doing well. Hope you are as well. Fournette, Ayuk, A.J. Dillon, OBJ. Choose 2 full PPR. Full PPR league. Thanks for all the content. No problem. I appreciate that. All right, so if we're picking 2 in a full PPR league, we have Fournette, Ayuk, A.J. Dillon, OBJ. I mean, if I get to pick 2 out of these 4, I'm playing Leonard Fournette and I'm playing A.J. Dillon. I think Leonard Fournette's ability to catch the ball out of the backfield gives him incredible value and upside on top of the fact that he's going to be running the ball. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to have a hard time running the ball, which may lead you to think, oh, well, isn't Leonard Fournette a lesser player? I actually think he's a better play, especially in a full PPR because of that. So mainly because Ali Marpet, their starting left guard, he's out today. And they're playing against the Indianapolis Colts, who have the best run defense in the National Football League in terms of giving up points to running backs this season. Fournette will catch a bunch out of the backfield like he has in weeks past. A.J. Dillon's the next best play there because Brandon Ayuk, again, very volatile. I mean, wide receivers are very, very volatile in general. And OBJ really hasn't shown us anything yet. So there's nothing to 100% grasp on and say, yeah, we're going to get this much production. So let's wait on that. Let's play both running backs. That's my suggestion there, Joseph. Appreciate it. Abhishek V says, Deontay Johnson or Miles Sanders at the flex half PPR. Also, do you think I should hold on to Derrick Henry, first place in the league? Yes, you should hold on to Derrick Henry. For those of you who are first place and going into the playoffs, there is a potential in which he could return in week 17. If, in fact, he does do so, then you can go ahead and potentially play him and find a lot of value out of that kind of a play. The Tennessee Titans are going to be struggling, so I think by the time mainly because of all the injuries they've obviously incurred over the last couple weeks, or accrued. I think by the time they get to week 16, 17, 18, they're going to have people pushing them for, the overall number 1 seed in the in the AFC, and or even the Colts catching up and pushing them in the division. So Derrick Henry, as soon as he's ready to go, they're going to try to throw him back in the lineup. So either way, as to answering your question, whether I'm playing Miles Sanders or Deontay Johnson, I prefer Deontay Johnson this week. That is my suggestion. Thank you very much, Abhishek. Let's see here. Next question. We have Dom sending a question. Foreman, Landry, or Golladay in a PPR league. Listen, if I could trust Kenny Golladay, I would tell you to play him, but I don't trust him. He plays against Darius Slay, even with the potential of Sterling Shepard being out and followed by Kadarius Toney being out. I cannot trust Kenny Golladay. Jarvis Landry, he is 100% connected to the value of what Baker Mayfield puts forth today. Baker Mayfield has had some good games, specifically the last time he played against Baltimore, Week 14 of 2020. It was a great shootout, one of the better games of last season. But again, Baker Mayfield's hurt. He's got the shoulder injury, the humerus, broken bone. At this point, do I really want to play Foreman? Not really. Damn, dude. With Foreman and Hilliard there, I think Hilliard probably sneaks and takes all that receiving work. Yeah, you're probably in the best position to play Landry. I would ask you if Crowder's available and try to go pick him up. But yeah, I mean, at this point, I think Jarvis Landry might be the best option just off of the fact that it's a PPR. And I don't know what to expect out of Foreman's, receiving work and whether or not he'll be even able to find the end zone, as the Patriots just really have to stop the run and force Tannehill to throw 4 picks again to find success. Thank you. Brett says, crazy to play Jimmy G over Stafford. I have Kittle. I mean, I don't really think that the Kittle factor matters. I think if you want to go ahead and sit down today and, just specifically watch that game and root for the 49ers, you can absolutely do so. I think I'm just going to play Stafford. I think he's got a great history against that Green Bay defense. Coming off a bye week, they've been preparing for that defense, for the last couple weeks. I think Stafford's a better play. But yeah, if you want to go for it, you can play Jimmy G. Is it crazy? I would think so. Let's see here. Pedro sends it a question. Says, Sander, start 2, flex. We have Pittman, Smith, OBJ, Higgins. I mean, listen, if we're starting 2 in the flex position, Michael Pittman Jr., Devonta Smith, those are my 2 suggestions. You're good to go there, Pedro. Thank you. All right, really quickly, just a reminder. There's about 600 of you in here. If you guys could, click the like button down below. Really does help support the channel. Continue to grow this whole thing every single week. Shows your appreciation for me coming out every Sunday. As you can see to the left side of the screen, over here, we have our updated rankings as of this morning, as of just a couple minutes ago. So if you want to go ahead, check them out. My top 36 running backs and wide receivers in a half PPR, top 16 tight ends in a half PPR, followed by, of course, the top 16 tight ends in a 4-point per passing touchdown league. Hopefully this kind of gives you a little bit of an idea as to where I would go and what I would play. People are currently sending in questions because, again, I typically look at the chat, but people do take priority by sending in donations. If, in fact, you decide to do so, I do appreciate you supporting the channel in that regard. Be sure to attach your message and make sure you tell me what scoring format you are in. I appreciate that. Thank you. All right. A couple more questions were sent in here. We have Matt K saying, pick one in the flex half PPR. Devonta Smith, Kareem Hunt, DJ Moore. Love the work. Keep it up. I appreciate that, Matt. All right. So if we're playing one out of the 3 here in a half PPR, I think this is where I play Kareem Hunt. Yeah. This is where I'd probably go with Kareem Hunt. Now, if you are, I guess, risk averse, you want to go ahead and just wait. Let's see what Kareem Hunt does. I think the next best option would just be playing DJ Moore against Miami secondary. So for right now, Kareem Hunt. Otherwise, you play DJ Moore. Devon Smith's odd man out. Thank you. Sam sends in a question. Says, 2-parter question. Okay. Full PPR. Andrew, Cam or Aaron Rodgers. Okay. Between the two, I'd play Cam Newton. And T. Higgins or Brandon Ayuk. I'd play T. Higgins. Just slightly ahead of Brandon Ayuk. Now, if you feel more confident in Ayuk, you certainly can. If I'm not mistaken, on screen, in a half PPR scoring format. Well, actually, what was your question in regards to full PPR? Let me go check my full PPR. Actually, who's higher? I'm fairly certain it should be the same. T. Higgins is there. Yeah, I still have T. Higgins ahead of Brandon Ayuk in a full PPR. So if you want to play Brandon Ayuk, you can. I mean, they're relatively close overall, and even in my full PPR rankings. But as of right now, I do have T. Higgins ahead of him. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Where am I at? Okay, so that was Sam's question. Moving on to Dre Day Reviews. Says full PPR, Crowder or Tim Patrick? I prefer Crowder this week. Thank you very much, Dre Day. Anthony Barrett says Ty Johnson or Donta Foreman in a full PPR. I would play Ty Johnson. Thank you very much. Dom sends in another question. Says also, I got to pick one between Crowder, Foreman, Hilliard, or Marvin Jones full PPR. I would play Crowder in a full PPR there. No problem. I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Dom. Dustin says Tyrod Taylor or Taylor Heineke. I prefer Taylor Heineke. I think Tyrod Taylor is great. It's just a matter of whether or not he is able to find himself running the ball. If he can run the ball for 40 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns every single week, then by all means he's a great overall quarterback play. But there's no guarantee of him doing so, right? Because he'll one week have a great game against the Tennessee Titans, then he'll turn around and have the worst game that I've seen him play in quite some time against the Miami Dolphins a couple weeks back, where he just couldn't do anything, right? So there's a lot of potential issues in that regard. But for right now, Tyrod Taylor is a secondary play in comparison to Taylor Heineke, who's been playing really well, and the offense just looked significantly better as of late for that team. All right, Skizzy sends in a question. Half PPR, need 2 running backs in a flex. We have Cordero Patterson, Miles Sanders, Melvin Gordon, and Brandon Ayuk. Great. I'm playing all 3 of those running backs in a half PPR. So Cordero Patterson, Miles Sanders, and Melvin Gordon. Those are the 3 that I'm suggesting. Thank you very much. We have Joshua Pippen saying flex, Mike Williams, Devonta Freeman, or Myles Gaskin. If we're playing in a half PPR scoring format, I think I'm playing Myles Gaskin. If we're playing in a full PPR, I play Mike Williams. Okay? Thank you very much, Joshua Pippen. I appreciate that. Let's see here. Jack Venable says, PPR, Kyle Pitts or Elijah Moore. I would play Elijah Moore. Thank you very much, Jack. Drew Nunn says full PPR, Ayuk or Gaskin. Had Swift, so already down. So if we're looking for potential upside, I could see, I don't know why. I think I want to play Gaskin there. I'm just thinking of Gaskin and the amount of touches he's had in the last couple weeks. Let's see. What is this Bleacher? What is this? Cordero Patterson, questionable. Will play today versus the Jaguars. So that has been made official. Okay, cool. Glad to hear that he's going to be playing. For sure. I mean, that's what we anticipated. I mean, he wouldn't have practiced last week. You know, the limited participation he had prior to the Patriots game. And then, of course, this week. Anyway, so as for Gaskin versus Ayuk, I think Gaskin's ability to touch the ball 20 times per game gives him such great upside, but if he's only going to catch the ball 2 to 3, maybe 4 times out of the backfield for very minimal yards, his floor actually is not that bad. Let me think about this. Is Myles Gaskin good enough to where he can figure it out against Carolina's defense? I think Carolina's defense is good, but yeah, I honestly prefer Myles Gaskin. I think Ayuk is a decent play, but I just think that Gaskin's overall touches just gives me more, overall safety in that, overall position. So that's my suggestion there. Thank you very much. Flight Zone Music says Boyd Chenault, Tim Patrick, Jeff Wilson, Boston Scott. Need 2 wide receivers and a flex. All right, cool. So if we're picking 2 wide receivers out of that group in a flex, to be totally honest, I am going to be playing all 3 wide receivers. I think I'm leaving Jeff Wilson and Boston Scott on the bench. Unless those guys score touchdowns, specifically by stealing them, I don't think they're going to find much value. So I would go with Boyd, Chenault, and Tim Patrick. Thank you very much, Flight Zone. Let's see here. What do we got? Okay, so again, really quickly, on screen, updated rankings. I know someone in the chat just asked, Andrew, would you play J.D. McKissic or Tevin Coleman? That is on screen. That'll give you the idea. That's the whole point of having the rankings there, so you guys can check them out and play them accordingly if you'd like to follow or fade. Thank you. Sam says full PPR, tight end, Muth or Gesicki. We're playing the Muth. Thank you. RR says Pittman or Dillon in a half PPR scoring format. I would play A.J. Dillon there. Thank you. Elias Ambrose says full PPR, Hollywood Brown or Darrell Henderson. I'd play Hollywood Brown there. Thank you. Michael Amato says Cam Newton or Justin Herbert, 6 point per passing touchdown. I would play Justin Herbert there. Thank you. Moving on. Tony in the chat was asking, Yo, Kiorkof, are we good to go with Cordero Patterson? Yes, he's good to go. Mike Jimenez sends in a question. Says pick 2. Marvin Jones, Nick Westbrook-Ikini, Robbie Anderson, Austin Hooper, Rex Burkhead, or Tevin Coleman, thanks. All right, great question. Overall, I think if we're playing in a half PPR scoring format, as much as I'd want to risk the potential of going with Burkhead or Coleman, I don't think I can with the other options that you have. Which in that position, I'm suggesting we go with Marvin Jones and Robbie Anderson. Marvin Jones against Atlanta's subpar secondary, and Robbie Anderson against I don't know why Miami's defense, especially with Byron Jones and Xavier Howard, I don't know why their safeties must be awful. But either way, Marvin Jones, Robbie Anderson, those are my suggestions there, Mike Jimenez. Thank you. Let's see here. PT Morris says Miles Sanders, Elijah Moore, AJ Dillon in the flex. Aaron Jones may play, but what are your thoughts? My expectation is that he doesn't. I talked about it a little bit earlier. AJ Dillon is probably the play there in a half PPR scoring format, and that's where I'm going to go there. Thank you very much, PT. Let's see. Where are we going? All right. Really quickly, why did it update? Okay, Matt sends in a question. Says, and I quote, full PPR Javonte, Ayuk, DJ Moore. Thanks. I would play DJ Moore. Thank you. DYLY bar 4 says, PPR Ayuk or Miles Sanders. I would play Miles Sanders there. Thank you very much. I think this is the week he scores a touchdown finally. Okay, so this is a question from Ryan Kilpatrick. If Aaron Jones out, Mitchell, Devonta Smith, or Mike Gesicki. If we're playing one out of the group in a half PPR scoring format, even in a full PPR, I think I'm fairly comfortable just playing Devonta Smith there, and we're good to go. I think Minnesota's been relatively better in terms of stopping opposing running backs. Mitchell's got a lot to deal with so many other running backs touching the ball, specifically Deebo Samuel being a problem in that backfield. So Devonta Smith gets the priority over him. And then Gesicki and Javonte, they're limited in their overall opportunities. They make do with them, but yeah, for right now, Devonta Smith, my suggestion there, Ryan. If in fact Aaron Jones is out, and even if Aaron Jones isn't, I'm fairly certain. Let's see here. Don't they play in the afternoon slate? So you'll have to go ahead and decide early. So technically, yeah. So in the Pacific Standard Time, the Packers would play the Rams at 1:25. East Coast, they play at 4:25. So you would have to decide as of this morning whether or not you're playing Devonta Smith, which is my suggestion. You'd play them for the 10 a.m. game, or it would be the Eastern 1 p.m. game to go ahead and make sure just to have someone in that position and not wait for the night game because, technically you could wait, but I think it's just better off to just play Devonta Smith and roll with it there. Otherwise, you would have to wait and play Elijah Mitchell instead of Aaron Jones because they play at the same time. Thank you. All right, next question. Falcon Beast 9 says Cooks, Devonta Smith, Brandon Ayuk, Elijah Mitchell, full PPR, flex. Thank you. No problem. Appreciate it. All right, in terms of a full PPR scoring format with all of that, taking into overall, Devonta Smith, Brandon Cooks. Yeah, I play Brandon Cooks there. That's my suggestion there. In the full PPR scoring format, that's where I'm going. Thank you very much. Falcon Beast 9. So, DD sends in a question. Says, Bucks or Eagles defense? We have bonus points. But what are the bonus points? I don't know what the bonus points are. Is it return yards? If you could, DD, type in the chat and explain to me what the bonus points are. Because that'd be great. Give me a little bit more context. While we're at it, somebody's question next to him. Are the Lions going to win this season? You know what? They're really close. Eventually, someone's going to show up or eventually they're going to play against a team that looks like they didn't even get off the bus, meaning they really aren't going to do anything. Eventually, they'll play a team like that. Who it ends up being, we'll have to wait and see, but eventually they will. Otherwise, we're going to be in trouble. Alrighty, let's see here. So, let me see. Did I miss anybody's questions? Boom, 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 Kenneth. Yeah, we did that. True Gentleman, Word Law. Okay. Okay, that's great. Okay, we got done. Yep. Yeah, so I see Drew Nunn says, missed my super chat. I answer your question for like 30. I would say I probably spent 2 minutes on the question, but either way, I'd play Gaskin there. So just in case you missed it because Andrew was ranting too much. Okay, so then we did the Eagles question versus the Bucks. I play the Eagles defense there probably, but let me see what you said in the chat if you ended up typing in. Anything there, DD? Nothing from DD there? All right, so therefore I'm just playing the Eagles and I'm not worried about it. Okay, moving on. Perry Paul says, half PPR, pick 3, Gibson, Patterson, Moore, and Pittman. I don't know which Moore that is. I'm going to assume it's DJ Moore and not Elijah Moore. So if we're picking 3, I'm picking Gibson, Patterson, and Pittman. Thank you very much. Do you think Mitchell can play through the finger? I think he can and will. Berlin B says, Cordero Patterson or Hollywood Brown in a standard scoring format? That's a great question, actually. I think Hollywood Brown's the better play there, in my opinion. In a standard scoring format where we're just working off of yardage and touchdowns, Hollywood Brown. Thank you very much, Berlin. Gage Myers says, pick 2, Mike Williams, Brandon Cooks, Melvin Gordon III. I play Brandon Cooks and Melvin Gordon. Thank you very much, Gage. Perry Paul, half PPR flex. We need upside with Waller injury. Okay. Ramondre Stevenson, T. Higgins, Deonta Foreman. T. Higgins is my suggestion. Thank you very much. Alif sends in a question. Says, both are back-to-back on your rankings. Hendo or Lenny, full PPR. Yeah, I was mentioning this earlier. Lenny in a full PPR is significantly better. In a full PPR scoring format, I have Lenny higher. In a half PPR, he is lower. But yeah, I do prefer Leonard Fournette in a full PPR scoring format. That is my suggestion there. Alif, thank you. Tyler LeBlanc says, Muth, Stevenson, Higgins, flex full PPR. I play Muth there. Thank you. Nicole says, Galladay or Chenault. I'd play Chenault this week. Look, Galladay is technically should be good, but for some reason, it's just, I think his effort is out the window. I think he's already, getting to the position where he doesn't want to play for this team. I don't know what it is. He got a lot of money to go play for them, but he hasn't really done much at all. He's had one decent game. The rest have been terrible. I don't even know if he's found the end zone for this team. I don't think he scored a touchdown this year. Anyway, I think Chenault's probably the safer play there. That's my suggestion. Thank you. Let's see here. A couple more questions sent in. Damon Smith, thank you very much for the generous donation. Says, full PPR flex, Dontrell Hilliard, Javonte Williams, Ramondre Stevenson. All right, in a full PPR scoring format, I'm fairly certain I have Ramondre Stevenson higher amongst the group, and then it's like Javonte maybe competing with that spot. Full PPR scoring format. I have Javonte Williams at 22, and I have Dontrell Hilliard at 24. I have Ramondre Stevens at 25. Okay, so never mind. I still have Javonte Williams higher than him. That would be my suggestion there. Javonte, Hilliard, Stevenson. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Joe Inabi says, start Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, Gibson, Elijah Moore, or Miles Sanders in the flex position. I don't know if I'm comfortable starting Jones/Dillon due to the injury uncertainty. Okay, so let's say, for example, we got into a position where we didn't want to play A.J. Dillon or Aaron Jones because you didn't want to wait and see if they both played and they siphon value out of each other. Okay, let's say that was a possibility. At that point, the next best player to this group is between Gibson and Elijah Moore. If you're playing even in a half, I think in a full PPR, Elijah Moore could probably take the cake there. Half PPR standard, Gibson's probably the guy. So my suggestion is still to just roll with A.J. Dillon. If you don't want to risk it, then, half PPR Gibby, full PPR Moore, and you're good to go there. Thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate it. All right, DD says, okay, so here's the dealio. We get 4 points per interception, half a point per tackle, 1 point per sack, and 3 points per fumble recovery. Okay, thank you very much, DD. I think I'm still playing the Philadelphia Eagles defense. I mean, they've got after the opposing quarterbacks. They've caused a lot of turnovers as late, and they've scored a touchdown in 3 out of the last 4 games. I think you're good to go there playing Philly's defense there. Thank you. All right, Jesse M says Keenan Allen or Deontay Johnson. I think in both formats, I still prefer Keenan Allen. He's been unbelievable as of late. So when I say both formats, I mean half and full PPR. If we're talking about a standard format, then I would go ahead and play Deontay Johnson. So Keenan Allen in a half full, Deontay in a standard. Thank you. Let's see here. True Gentleman for You says defensive help: Browns, Texans, or Vikings. Currently have the Texans above the Browns and Vikings this week, so I would suggest the Texans. Thank you. And I think they've been low-key good as of late. This was like 16-plus points each of the last 2 games. Like, it's crazy numbers that Houston's defense is putting up. Mario Robles sends in a question. Says, just picked up Dontrell Hilliard off of the waivers. Worth holding? ? I'm in first. Or no, that's not Dontrell Hilliard. That's Derrick Henry. Yeah, that's why you said I'm in first. Yeah, no, you're hello? You're good to go there. I don't know what the heck just happened there. Mr. Mario Robles, I think Derrick Henry, again, like I was mentioning, if he comes back in week 16, 17, that seems about, the right timeline. I mean, I think it's week 8 that he was missing. So if he misses from week 8 through week, 16, that's pretty much the time span that they gave us as the potential quote-unquote recovery time. They said 6 to 8 weeks. So if he's able to make it in 8 weeks, hey, we're in a good spot there. So yes, you're good to go. I thought it was Dontrell Hilliard because that's the first DH. Anyway, moving on. Let's see here. Christopher sends in a question. Full PPR. I'm 4-7. I need a flex. Cooks, Higgins, or Moore. Which Moore is it? I think regardless of which Moore, if it's DJ or Elijah, I'm playing both of them over Brandon Cooks. I have DJ Moore at 15 on screen, Elijah Moore at 16, Brandon Cooks at 17. So either Moore, that is the play there. The Moore, Cooks, Higgins, that order. Thank you. Kobe Sports Card says start 2, full PPR, Henderson, DK, Deontay. I would play DK Metcalf and Deontay Johnson this week. Thank you. Doug sends in a question. Says Hunt, Pittman, Thielen, standard scoring format, flex position. I think I'm playing Kareem Hunt there. Yeah, I'm gonna play Kareem Hunt there. I think he's the better play in the standard format there. Thank you. All right, what do we got? Okay, that was Doug. We have Tyler LeBlanc with another question. Stevenson, Higgins, Gesicki, flex full PPR. I think I want to play Higgins there. I think Gesicki's literally right behind him, but I'm gonna play Higgins there. Thank you. The Citizen says Heineke or Jimmy G, got Ayuk and Kittle. I mean, at this point, okay, so here's the reason why a lot of people, including myself, may suggest opting away from playing all the players on one team. For example, and we get into a situation where the entire 49ers team falls apart today. They don't score more than 7 points offensively for the entire game, and they don't get any yardage. That could be super detrimental. Your whole week will be lost if all 3 of those players play badly. Or it's the other way around where all 3 of them play well, you're good to go. I'm not even mad at the idea of going Jimmy G over Taylor Heineke. Jimmy G's been 2 touchdowns for 4 consecutive weeks. The fact that you're playing, with a bunch of 49ers leads me to think might as well go ahead and just throw them all out there and let's ride it out. Otherwise, again, Taylor Heineke is my anticipated higher scoring quarterback, which is something you typically want to go after. You want the scoring, the higher scoring player. But in this scenario, you can just buy in fully on the 49ers and let's see what happens. All right, let's see here. Noe Meza says, half PPR, I need a flex. We have Bateman, Collins, Jeff Wilson Jr., Marquez Valdes-Scantling, or drop Tony for Van Jefferson or Shenault. I mean, right now, out of the group, I'm playing Bateman. So I don't even think you need to make any drops, technically. I think Tony, the argument can be made to drop him for a Van Jefferson or a Shenault. And I don't mind doing so based on his injury history this season already and his inefficiencies even when he has been playing as of late. So, to be honest, I don't mind it. But for right now, Bateman's my suggestion for this week. Thank you very much. Let's see here. We have, scrolling. It just updated. Okay, cool. Really quickly, want to check something before we move on and get anywhere. Kadarius Toney's out today. Just wanted to confirm that. Also, want to go check this report. Go to NBC Sports Edge and let's see if there's any new information for today. Vita Vea is going to play today, so that's definitely not great. Corey Davis is inactive today. Good to know. Hunter Henry's playing, which was anticipated. So is Ramondre Stevenson. So is Cordero Patterson. And the rest is good to go. All right, awesome. Just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page. Great. Okay, really quickly. It's about 800 of us in here. If you guys could, click the like button down below. It does help support the channel a bunch. As you can see over here on the left side of the screen, we have my updated rankings as of this morning. So for those of you who are wondering, Andrew, should I be playing Cam Newton or Matthew Stafford? My suggestion, based on the rankings on screen, I currently believe and I project Cam Newton to be the number 5 remaining quarterback of this week. So he is currently ahead of number 7, Matthew Stafford. Therefore, I would play Cam Newton over Stafford in this week's matchup. So hopefully you can take these rankings off to the left and use them accordingly for those of you who are trying to get those respective in-position questions answered. Thank you very much. All right. Okay. We have a question from K. Okay, that's a great... How do I pronounce this? Pereira. Thank you very much. Says non-PPR league. We have Cordero Patterson and Brandon Ayuk. I think even in a non-PPR, I'm playing Cordero Patterson. I mean, the yardage counts he's gotten as late, the ability to run the ball and catch the ball out of the backfield and play out wide, play special teams at times. He's too dynamic, in my opinion. I play Cordero there. Thank you. Let's hear. Nixel, or Nix11 says, PPR, need a flex. We have Harris or Stevenson. Okay, so it's Damian Harris or Stevenson, or Judy, or Higgins. In a full PPR scoring format, if Harris finds the end zone with 50 yards, 11-point play, can Jerry Judy catch that? If he's able to catch the ball, I don't know, probably 6 times for 60 yards, he's able to really easily surpass that. It's only with a better game, but Stevenson's there. I'm playing Jerry Judy in a full PPR, Nixel. Thank you. Let's see here. Obsidian Z06 says, full PPR, need one wide receiver to start and a flex. We have Marvin Jones, Rashad Bateman, Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Thanks in advance. No problem. I appreciate it. I'm playing Rashad Bateman as your wide receiver. As for your flex, though I think there's a potential that Marquez Valdez-Scantling could have himself consecutive great weeks, the fact that Alan Lazard is out there, the fact that Randall Cobb is out there, DeGuara is getting more love, leads me to think let's just roll with Marvin Jones there. My neck's broken. Okay, moving on. Marvin Jones and Rashad Bateman are my suggestions there. OB, thank you. Moving on from OB's question, we have Barry Goldberg says, any change in the position between Damian Harris and Devontae Freeman in a standard league? No, I think I'm still relatively comfortable running with Damian Harris there. With Lamar back into the lineup, I think the rushing ability and or potential touches of Devontae Freeman definitely plummet a little bit there. So I'm going to go ahead and just still roll with Damian Harris there. Mr. Goldberg, thank you very much. Doug sends in a question, says, do I trust Russell or start backup Wentz standard? I trust Russell enough to where I'm ready to roll with it. So as to whether you trust him, that's on you. If you feel comfortable with the potential upside and or downslide or whatever the heck we're going to end up seeing here, you have to just take it on the chin. I think Carson Wentz could get into a situation where, again, like they have in the last couple of weeks, they find success running the ball and he doesn't get much utilization. I know for a fact that, the Seahawks defense can't stop a soul, and neither can the Indianapolis secondary. So both these quarterbacks will be pushed to throw the ball a bunch and, of course, try to score. If I have to pick one, I just feel like the weapons that surround Russell Wilson just give him the greater advantage in that regard. So that's why I go Russell. Gabriel says, Big Ben or Tyrod Taylor? Any deep sleeper RBs rest of the season? Deep sleeper RBs? I wish they existed. They really don't unless an injury exists. Injuries are what create sleepers in that regard, right? So unless you were to anticipate, a rookie taking over a job, for example, Jarrett Patterson of the Washington football team, if anything's to happen to Gibby in the next couple weeks, Jarrett Patterson's the guy. So I'd say that's the best deep sleeper rest of the season at RB. As for your question, I prefer Big Ben over Tyrod Taylor right now. I think Tyrod's great. It's just I don't know what we're going to potentially see. They could run the ball 30 times like they did last week, and a lot of them down on the goal line, and it ends up being a Rex Burkhead, David Johnson kind of day. So for right now, I would say just roll with the Big Ben there. Let's see here. Okay, I think we've caught up to everything. Actually, there's a couple more that was sent in, so my apologies. We didn't catch up. Moving on. Jordan Reynolds says full PPR, Devonta Smith or A.J. Dillon. Jones is a game time decision. My anticipation is that he's not going to play. The medical staff for the Packers are quite conservative and typically do not play players that have any sort of ability to re-injure themselves, and they have a bye week next week. So again, I don't think that Aaron Jones is going to play. So I would play A.J. Dillon over Devonta Smith. Thank you. Let's see here. Brandon sends in a question. Says roster is Josh Allen, DeAndre Swift, Eckler, Clyde, Justin Jefferson, Kupp, and Gronk. Swift hurt, got offered Christian McCaffrey and Devonta Smith for Kupp and Clyde. So I accept 1,000%. Yes. Yeah, you 1,000% accept that. Give me Christian McCaffrey and Devonta Smith the rest of the season over Kupp and Clyde. Thank you. Alrighty. Someone said half PPR flex. Okay, this is Omar Ali. Says Dan Arnold or DJ Dallas in the flex. I play Dan Arnold. Thank you, Omar, for the question. Holy smokes, that neck crack. Yeah, that is what you call, I would say, yeah, I mean, that's what, there's a lot of reasons that my neck is busted, but I would say football is definitely the main priority on that regard. And getting addicted to, of course, cracking my neck. Okay, Walter Gregg says, full PPR, Tyler Lockett or A.J. Dillon in the flex. I mean, again, my anticipation is that Aaron Jones doesn't play and that we're safe enough to play Tyler Lockett. Now, you're in a position of luxury in the idea that even if, for example, Aaron Jones is to play, you can go ahead and opt off of A.J. Dillon because Tyler Lockett plays on Monday. So you'll know. So when we get to the position in which it's A.J. Dillon versus Tyler Lockett and they tell us that Aaron Jones is out, then you play A.J. Dillon there and you're good to go tonight. Thank you. Okay. Here we go. Khalil sends in a question. Says, Gibson, Ayuk, Mike Williams, PPR. I play Gibson there. Thank you. All right. I think we caught everything almost. Okay, almost there. I keep thinking that we're caught up, but okay. Problem Bless says pick 2 PPR. Judy, Higgins, Gibson. Judy and Gibson are my suggestions there. Problem, thank you. Fucus Zulanti says, why Giants keep BSing with Saquon if he's healthy? I don't think they're going to BS today. I think they BS'd last week because they wanted to keep him, healthily transitioned into the offense. But also the game script wasn't great against Tampa Bay of all defenses. So I think they'll be fine. I think they're going to get a lot of usage out of him today. Alexander sends it a question. Patterson, Gibson, Dillon. PPR. Thanks. I'm playing Patterson there. Thank you. Steph Turner says half PPR. Flex Devontae Freeman, my apologies, or Chase Claypool. In a half PPR scoring format, that's a really good one. Ooh, I'm going to play Devontae Freeman there. Thank you. I think Devontae Freeman, it's 4 touchdowns in the last 5 games. Claypool, in the last 5 games, has he scored a touchdown? Probably. No, really hasn't. Outside of that one game in which he had over 100 yards and a touchdown, and the last time he played against Cincinnati, he was good. He had about, 9 catches for 90 yards. But that was because Deontay Johnson wasn't even in that game. Deontay Johnson's the main priority guy in that offense. So, yeah, I would play Devontae Freeman there. Steph, appreciate it. Let's see here. OB sends in another question. Says, one more. Full PPR. Flex Melvin Gordon or Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Listen, it's Melvin Gordon. It's not even close. I think Valdez-Scantling having one good week does not prioritize him over a running back that has been great all season long. Melvin Gordon's the guy there. Gank XU24 says Damian Harris, Ty Johnson, Goddard, Collins, full PPR. Great question. I think that the safest play is probably going with Damian Harris, which is going to be my suggestion. The only other play that I would probably consider in this current situation is probably going with Ty Johnson, but I'm probably not going to suggest that. So let's just go Damian Harris there. Thank you. All right, let's see here. There was a couple questions that I saw in the chat. We're going to get to that in a second. Okay, let's do this. All right, really quickly, reminder. What's up, everyone? How's it going? There's about 800 of you in here. If we could, click the like button. Greatly appreciate it. Another thing that I wanted to mention. Everything on this side of the screen is updated rankings as of this morning. You can go ahead, figure out in position what I would go ahead and do in a half PPR scoring format / 4-point per passing touchdown league. Also, people are sending in questions. So if in fact a question that you are wondering is answered in that regard, as they're sending in donations to jump the line, hopefully that'll help you out. Check out Underdog Fantasy as well if you guys haven't yet already. I ended up drafting a team for this Sunday earlier this morning before the stream. I think, what was I even able to put together? I went for a crazy team this morning. I think I went like Devontae Adams, Najee Harris, Elijah Moore, Kyle Pitts, Kirk Cousins, and who was the last receiver I played? Devonta Smith. I went with the all-rookie lineup almost. Anyway, the entire point, if you sign up today using promo code Andrew at Underdog Fantasy, you can play multiple contests, the pick'ems. Underdog Fantasy is willing to match up to $100 of your first deposit. So for those of you guys that are interested in checking that out, you can go down to the link in the description. You can go check out their website. If that's something that interests you, you can sign up using promo code Andrew and take advantage of that. If it interests you, of course, just take a stroll. No pressure. You're good to go. All right. Let's see here. A couple more questions sent in here. After Gank's question, we have Eat Powder says, Hunt or Judy? I'd play Hunt there. By the way, now that I see the word powder, if you guys haven't checked out on Netflix, I'm sure everybody has Netflix, go and check out the show Arcane. My goodness, is that great. I mean, fantastic TV show. Nine episodes. It's all out right now. Go check that out. You won't be disappointed. Andrew's suggestion. You're very welcome. Alrighty, let's see here. Call Saul says, that's another good show, but anyway, that's besides the point. Call Saul says, standard flex, Stevenson or Van Jefferson. In a standard format, I'm going to play Van Jefferson. Thank you. Terry R says, full PPR, pick one, David Johnson, Coleman, Judy, Waddle. In a full PPR scoring format, it is Jalen Waddle. That is my suggestion. Thank you very much, Terry R. Gucci Han Louis Han says, what position were you? Offensive guard. I've played every offensive lineman position, like started at every single one, but I played guard primarily. Let's hear. Jonnu Smith says, would you start? Okay, sorry. Who would you flex between Kyle Pitts, OBJ, Tyler Lockett? That's a really good question. I don't think I'm playing OBJ. I think it's between Kyle Pitts and Tyler Lockett. If I'm flexing one of them, man, I'd love to see Kyle Pitts get a lot more opportunity this week. And that's kind of where I'm leaning. I'm going to play Kyle Pitts there. I'll play Kyle Pitts, then Tyler Lockett, then OBJ in that order. Thank you. Carlos Roshi in the chat says, today's my birthday. God bless you all. Thank you very much, Carlos. Happy birthday. Hope it all goes well for you. Hope you enjoy this Sunday of football and, being around people that you love and love you. Happy birthday, my guy. All right, let's see here. Where are we with the next question? Okay. Aaron sends in a question. Says, I have A.J. Dillon, Darrell Williams, Sony Michel. Long term, do I drop any of these to pick up Ty Johnson, Breida, Scott, or any other on the waiver wire? I think Matt Breida absolutely needs to be picked up at this point. Ty Johnson as well, considering Michael Carter is going to be missing not only this week, but the two subsequent weeks after. What is that, week 13 and 14? May even get into a week 15 conversation if his recovery process isn't as smooth as we potentially anticipate. So I think Ty Johnson, Matt Breida, they are guys that probably should be priority. Now, having Sony Michel on roster and Darrell Williams on roster is great, but only if, in fact, you do have Darrell Henderson, Clyde Edwards. So that would be the only thing. So unless you don't see yourself starting Ty Johnson and Breida ever, and you already have Darrell Henderson and Clyde Edwards, and you're just trying to prepare for the playoffs, that would be the only reason why you would ever keep those handcuffs in comparison to those potential starters that could give you advantages in the future. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it. Let's see here. SalCal23 sent in a dono, but for some reason, there wasn't a message attached. Let's see if I can find a message from you in the chat. Okay, here we go. PPR League. Wide receiver lineup is Metcalf, Evans, Hollywood, Jefferson. Have Bateman as a flex. What should I line up? What should my lineup be? Have Javonte Williams also for flex. Okay, so if I'm starting, well, I don't know how many wide receivers I'm starting, but if I was to give you an idea as to Sal Cal, who I'm playing over the other, my suggestion would be Justin Jefferson's my favorite wide receiver of the group, followed by Evans, Metcalf, Hollywood, Bateman. If I'm going to start Javonte, it would be over Bateman, and I'm okay with that. But if it's a full PPR, I'm playing all the receivers. But again, yeah, you should probably, just keep all the guys you have. If you're able to start 4 starting wide receivers and Bateman in the flex, just keep it as such and just roll it out there and you're good to go. But if you can only start 2 wide receivers and 1 flex, it would be Jefferson, Evans, and Metcalf to get my nod. Thank you. All right, let's see here. The next question comes in from where art thou? Let's see here. We got Gucci, we got Janu, we got Aaron, we got Saka. Okay. Raiders 121, Raiders 121 says full PPR. I have Chubb, Mixon, James Robinson. My wide receivers are Tyreek Hill, Tyler Lockett, Sutton. Guy wants to trade me Diggs for one of my backs and Lockett. Should I keep or take it? He wants to give you Diggs for one of your running backs and Lockett. So you have to give a running back and Lockett for Diggs? Nah, I'm keeping what you have. Mainly because I think Sutton is unplayable at this moment. So you have to play 2 wide receivers. So you have to play Tyreek Hill and Lockett rest of season. And then you play Chubb, Mixon, and Robinson as 2 of your running backs in your flex. I don't think getting Diggs in your lineup technically helps you because you have to start Sutton at the flex every single week. And maybe I'm completely off base, but I've looked at the schedule for Denver, and it doesn't look fantastic for wide receivers, specifically Sutton, who's going to have to take number 1 coverage and probably double coverage for majority of the games that they play if defenses are going to sit in cover 2s. So I'm sitting here thinking you're better off probably just keeping what you have here, Raiders. Thank you. Andrew S. says, Andrew, my RB2 feeling, my RB2 feelings hurt. Full PPR, play 1, and keep 3 going forward. Ramondre, Levante, Jeff Wilson, Burkhead, DJ. Any handcuff rankings / advice? Okay, really quickly. As to what I'm playing this week, if I'm playing one out of this group of running backs, I am playing Ramondre Stevenson. That's my suggestion there. In a full PPR scoring format, I would put Ramondre Stevenson over the rest of the gang. Okay, great. We've settled that. Now, if we're keeping 3 of these running backs out of the 5 that you've mentioned going forward, I would keep Ramondre Stevenson, Jeff Wilson Jr., just because of the potential of Elijah Mitchell re-injuring himself somehow, some way. And then followed by probably Latavius Murray. Yeah, probably Latavius Murray in case we get a scenario in which Devontae Freeman injures himself. Because I look at Burkhead, I think I don't really want to deal with Houston Texans running backs because the offense isn't great anyway. They can't run the ball. DJ Dallas is in a scenario where if Alex Collins gets hurt, then maybe he's good to go. But even then, I don't really trust the backfield there. So at this point, yeah, you're probably just keeping Ramondre, Latavius, and Wilson, playing Ramondre this week. As for a handcuff ranking rest of the season, I mean, think about the most injury-prone running backs in the NFL, especially this season. If someone drops Devontae Booker, I want him. If someone drops Chuba Hubbard, I want him. If someone drops Alexander Madison, I want him. Like, they're associated with some of the best running backs, on top of the fact that those running backs have been injured in recent history, right? So as long as we're in a situation where the handcuff that you're going after is someone that is associated with a good offense, can immediately find success, and is, has their, I guess, the starter ahead of them with injury history, not a bad way of going about it. Fidel Fabulas says in a question, and I quote, where the heck did the question go? Bourne or Patrick, PPR. Injuries are a MF? No? Yeah. I think this season alone, I probably have to do the stats when the seasons are done, when the season is done as a whole. I don't think in the last couple years that I've been doing this that I've seen more injuries in a singular season. Like impactful ones at that as well. Like last season was, there was impactful injuries, don't get me wrong. McCaffrey and Saquon going down, boom, boom, makes a huge difference in terms of the overall landscape of fantasy football. But this year has been unreal. Like there has been no safe players at all. Everyone has been injured. Everyone has missed time. I mean, the only running back that I think that hasn't missed much time is, Jonathan Taylor. And some of his early weeks, it felt like he took the week off. So he might as well have at that point. But still, otherwise Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon, Zeke's probably going to miss time in the upcoming future. Kamara's missed time. Dude, these running backs, these wide receivers, they can't stay healthy. It's crazy. You would have thought last year, without an offseason, they'd have been fine. This year, or going forward, maybe they got to just kill the offseason. Maybe that's it just builds up more problems for this, entire game, which is so violent and so injury-ridden. Anyway, SoFlo sends in a question. Brandon Cooks or Miles Sanders? Full PPR. I'm playing Brandon Cooks there. Thank you, SoFlo. Appreciate it. Let's hear Martin. Sends in a question. Says Miles Sanders, Ayuk, Judy in my flex. If we're playing in a half PPR scoring format, even in a full, I'm gonna play Miles Sanders. So Miles Sanders is my suggestion, regardless of format. There, Martin. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Moving down the list, Matthew Thompson says David Johnson or Marvin Jones. I'm playing David Johnson there. Thank you, Matthew. Appreciate it. Okay. Boom. Michael Gomez sends in a donation, but there wasn't a message attached. Boom. Let's see if I can find it. All right, message. Standard league, choose two. Elijah Mitchell, Sanders, or Hunt. I'm going to play Sanders and Hunt. Thank you very much, Michael. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Next question. Elias Ambrose says full PPR. Crazy to start Hilliard over Elijah Mitchell. I mean, in only a full PPR would I ever do that. So in a full PPR, I'm okay with it. Is it still not something that I would suggest? Sure. But that's the only scenario in which I would ever pull it off. But yeah, even then, I think I'd still roll with Mitchell and the potential upside that he falls into the end zone. Thank you. All right, let's see here. Jay sends in a question. Henderson or Elijah Moore? Flex, half PPR. In a half PPR, it's a little different. I think in a full PPR, I'm for sure playing Elijah Moore. In a half PPR, I'm probably going with Darrell Henderson there. Thank you. Leo sends in a question. Full PPR, Crowder, Bateman, Westbrook, Ikini. Full PPR. If we're playing one, it's between Crowder and Bateman. I would play Bateman, then Crowder, then Westbrook. Thank you. In that order. Do we start Dillon even if Jones plays? No. Okay, but here's the thing, D-Mall. That's a great question, but here's the issue. We don't know if Aaron Jones is going to play until probably maybe an hour before the game, maybe 30 minutes before the game when the inactive list is announced by the team. So you won't really have the ability to kind of pivot until you get there. I'm of the opinion that because they have a bye week next week, he's coming off of, yes, a week of practice. It doesn't mean that they have to play him, and it doesn't mean that they're going to. So my opinion is most likely he won't play. But if Aaron Jones does play, I think he's still going to be limited into a capacity. So even if you're in a scenario where you can't pivot, you're fine playing Dillon because I think Dillon's just going to get majority of touches anyway. But again, to reiterate, I don't expect him to play. Michael Gomez says Mitchell, Sanders, Hunt. Okay, so you sent it in again because it didn't get attached. Don't worry about it. Okay, cool. Sanders and Hunt, once again, thank you. Okay, let's see here. What time is it? 9:20? All right, we're in a good spot here. Alex sends in a question. Says, I have to bench one, start the rest. Half PPR, Keenan Allen, Kareem Hunt, DK Metcalf, Leonard Fournette, also have A.J. Dillon. Thanks, my guy. All right, so if we have to sit 1.5 PPR, I'm sitting Leonard Fournette. So if I'm sitting one, it's Leonard Fournette. I would play. Actually, no. Am I actually sitting Leonard Fournette or Kareem Hunt? It's probably Kareem Hunt in that regard, then, huh? Keenan Allen and DK Metcalf are for sure plays. It's just a matter of these other three and what we want to do with the A.J. Dillon situation, because you have the ability to probably play these other guys and be fine with it. No, but you have the night game. Okay, so here's my suggestion. You have to play Leonard Fournette and A.J. Dillon. If you get to the mid-afternoon today and they say that A.J. Dillon is going to be flanked with Aaron Jones, then you pivot to Kareem Hunt. Otherwise, you keep A.J. Dillon in lineup and bench Kareem Hunt for this week. All right, there it is, Alex. Thank you. Joel Garza says, full PPR, Crowder, Ayuk, or Claypool. Crowder, Ayuk, Claypool. Fairly certain in a full PPR. Let's go check this out. Full PPR. Crowder is there. Ayuk is there. Claypool. I still have Claypool ahead of them. That's my suggestion. Thank you. Nick sends it a question. Says full PPR, 2 quarterbacks and 1 flex. Daniel Jones, Matt Ryan, Big Ben, Mac Jones, Aaron Jones, Terry McLaurin. The flex is going to be Terry McLaurin. The 2 quarterback scenario, Big Ben. And then if I have to pick one more out of this group, it's Daniel Jones. Do I want to play Matt Ryan? I don't want to play Matt Ryan. Let's just play Daniel Jones and Big Ben there. Thank you. Alan Dallas, 83, says 2 wide receiver spots. We have DJ Moore, Deontay Johnson, Adam Thielen. Deontay Johnson and Adam Thielen are my 2 suggestions there. Thank you. Alrighty. Moving on. We have the next question coming up here. We have Vladimir sending a question. Tyrod Taylor or Cousins? I would play Cousins there. Kareem Hunt or Ramondre Stevenson, I would play Kareem Hunt. So Cousins, Hunt, that is my suggestion, Vladimir. Thank you very much for the question. Greg Lira says start 2 in option of flex. Jamar Chase, Brandon Ayuk, Devontae Freeman, Damian Harris, or Miles Sanders. Jamar Chase, Miles Sanders. Those are my suggestions. Thank you, Greg. DJ Dallas, rest of the season, lock it up. I mean, there's a potential. I've done it in some of my leagues where I went and gotten him. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, you can. Julian says, do you think Calvin really comes back this season? No clue. Absolutely no clue. I would love to know the answer to that. But at this point, he is technically available to return. I don't know if they'll designate him to return next week. I think he may be just done for the season, which is unfortunate. But, I mean, it is what it is. Fainsky says full PPR, flex, Hunt, Gronk, or Myers. If I'm playing one, I'm playing Kareem Hunt. Thank you very much, Fainsky. Kent says, curious why Foreman over David Johnson. The thing about David Johnson mainly kind of revolves around the idea that I would only play David Johnson over him in a full PPR scoring format. Because from what I've seen from David Johnson this season already on the ground, unless David Johnson's going to catch the ball like 6 times today, there's no way that he could surpass Foreman. I mean, the guy this season is like averaging less than, I think it's almost less than 3 yards per carry. Let me confirm this. Let's see here. David Johnson this season. Yeah, I mean, he's barely averaging 3 yards per carry. Literally, it's the worst numbers of his career, right? And if you're only averaging 3 yards per carry, if you're going to carry the ball 10 times, you're getting 30 yards today. So if he has no ability to catch the ball out of the backfield and he doesn't get that, he's in desperate trouble, which makes me lean in the direction of Foreman, where at least I know for a fact that the Tennessee Titans, they're a run-first team. They're going to try to run the ball so they can impose their will in that regard, because they know, listen, the receiver position is pretty much bare bones. We have to run the ball, and they have the line to do it. So as long as they get into a scenario in which they can consistently run the ball, which I anticipate happening, I think Foreman's a better play. Unless it's a full PPR in which we could see David Johnson catch the ball 4 times and just be fine with his overall base value just being slightly higher than Foreman, assuming both don't score touchdowns. Okay, Kemp, that's my explanation. Thank you. Appreciate it. Moving on. We have a question coming in from Terry R. It says full PPR. Better add Hines, David Johnson, Hyde, or I have J-Rob. The better addition to your team overall? I mean, it depends on how you want to go about this, right? Because even having Hyde as a backup doesn't really entice me that much, because I think, okay, well, if Hyde's the running back here, maybe he scores 10 points a week and he's fine. But if something happens to Jonathan Taylor, Nyheim Hines is an unbelievable back in terms of value. So if I'm looking just to handcuff and I don't need anybody to play for me, I'm picking up Hines. Appreciate it, Terry. Thank you. Let's see here. Plumenth says Hunt or Javonte, flex PPR. Thank you. Kareem Hunt is my suggestion. Really quickly, there's about 700 of you in here. Just wanted to remind all of you, on week 12 of our live stream here, everything to the left side of the screen is updated rankings as of this morning. You can check those out and kind of answer your question. The one that was just sent in was a Javonte versus Kareem Hunt. I do have Kareem Hunt pretty much, pretty high in comparison to Javonte Williams. I do like them both this week, but again, if you're wondering in position, that would give you the idea. Otherwise, you're good to go. Thank you. All right. Okay. Alrighty, let's see here. All right, so we have Matt. Says Aaron Jones or Nick Westbrook. I don't expect Aaron Jones to play. So what is my suggestion in this regard? Probably sit in a scenario in which you need to probably play Nick Westbrook, unfortunately. Can he find value? Absolutely. Will he find value? We'll have to wait and see. He's not that far down in my rankings. Like, he's actually like top 40. So you just play Nick Westbrook, because if you get into a scenario where you have to wait till the night game to see if Aaron Jones plays, you'd have to then pivot to a wide receiver or running back on the Rams, Packers, Vikings, 49ers, Browns, Baltimore, Seattle, or Washington. And I don't know if you have anybody available in your league that is of value that could fill in. The reasoning why you have Nick Westbrook on your team is probably because it's pretty bare bones out in the waivers. So you're probably just playing him and you're good to go. Let's see here. Andrew sends in a question, or sends in a donation, a question attached. Let's see if I can find it. All right. Andrew says, Cordero Patterson. Wait, is this the same person? It is. Cool. Cordero Patterson or Devonta Freeman? I would play Cordero Patterson 1,000%. He's going to play today, and that is why I feel confident enough rolling with him. Thank you. Charles says, what's going on with Ryan Tannehill? I mean, besides even prior to his teammates leaving, he's looked like absolute garbage. I think it's safe to say that the offensive coordinator change this offseason has made a huge difference. And I really didn't anticipate it being that big of a difference, but hey, seems like it has. Matt says, full PPR, CEH on waivers. Should I drop anyone for him? Cam, Stafford, Lenny, Barkley, Jacobs, Javonte, Connor, Ayuk, Diggs, Jefferson, DJ, Kelsey, Gronk, Matt Gay. Yeah, I drop Ayuk right now for him. Go pick up Clyde Edwards. Thank you. Moving on. Next question. Mahir Saeed says, should I be worried about Hunt returning and being the third down back? I know starting Melvin Gordon over him in 2 leagues, but Hunt over Ty Johnson in another. Yeah, I'm okay with Hunt over Ty Johnson. I mean, though Hunt can be considered, quote-unquote, a third down back, he does play on first and second downs. He does take away goal line touches. So he's definitely a guy that's not just a one-dimensional receiving back. He's done it all and will continue to do it all for that team. Thank you. Alrighty. Let's see here. Jonathan Lee says half PPR, pick 3. To start, we have Henderson, Cordero Patterson, Debo, Jamar Chase, Pittman. All right, in a half PPR scoring format, I'm playing Cordero, Debo, and Jamar Chase. Thank you very much, Jonathan Lee. Your follow-up question. Also, currently starting the Texans defense. Should I go Bengals or Falcons? No, I still prefer Texans. They're higher in my rankings this week. The second highest there would be the Bengals, and then third would be Falcons. Thank you. All right, Will Lane says, keep up the good work, man. In a half PPR scoring format, why are you higher on Freiermuth than Goddard? Currently have them both on my team. It's been a toss-up as to who to start. I mean, has it really been a toss-up as to who to start? I mean, as of late, am I mistaken to think that Freier's just been significantly better? Let me see here. Let's go look at these numbers. All right, so let's look at the last couple weeks here. So weeks, 7 through 11 at the tight end position, half PPR. Let's see here. So from week 7 through 11, okay, of this season, even in the game in which Fryer didn't even have Big Ben at quarterback, specifically because they played against Detroit with the backup quarterback. From week 7 through 11, okay, Freiermuth has put up 43.9 fantasy points, okay? Goddard's put up 39. But Goddard has had a full extra game than him played and has had a game with his starting quarterback the whole way while Freiermuth has not. He's had a situation in which, of course, he's had Mason Rudolph at quarterback. So if we bring this down to weeks 8 through 11, of course, because week 7, the Pittsburgh Steelers had a bye week, Freiermuth in the last, 4 weeks has been the number 2 overall tight end in fantasy, averaging 11 points per game, while Goddard has been the number 10 tight end in fantasy, averaging 7 fantasy points per game. So in my opinion, with Eric Ebron out, it just makes the scenario that much easier for Fryer to continue to succeed. So it makes sense in my eyes. Opportunities there, recency in terms of success is there. That's why it makes sense. Currently have both of them on my... Okay, yeah, so that's my explanation, Will. If you want to play Goddard, listen, you make the decision at the end of the day. I'm not, over there making your lineup moves. So you're good to go whichever way you want to go about it, okay? Let's see here. Tyler sends in a question. Says half PPR, flex, Hunt, Elijah Moore, Devonta Smith. I'm probably going Hunt, then Elijah Moore in that regard. Thank you. Phil says, hey, Andrew, started Waller and Renfro and Jacobs on Thanksgiving. Only need help at my wide receiver 2 spot. Unfortunate that Waller had to get hurt, man. Unfortunate. Because Jacobs and Renfro both played incredibly. But yeah, man. Waller getting injured is so unfortunate. So wide receiver 2. I'm starting Kupp, but do I start Jerry Jeudy or Rashad Bateman in a full PPR? I'd play Jerry Jeudy there. Thank you very much, Phil. Alrighty, let's see here. TC sends in a question. Says flex half PPR. Pick one: Mitchell, Ayuk, or Cooks. I'm playing Brandon Cooks there. Thank you. Dilo says curious about your picks. How come Bucks and Packers? As in my predictions this week, why do I think the Bucks are going to beat the Indianapolis Colts? Because they're a better team. And why do I think the Packers over the Rams? Because they're a better team. Overall, those are my thoughts. The main reason I think that the Rams aren't going to win today, even though I'm a Rams homer, is because they're playing in Green Bay. If they're not in Green Bay, it's a completely different scenario there. But because they're in Green Bay, it leads me to believe that Green Bay has the advantage by a pretty significant margin. As for Tampa Bay, as great as Jonathan Taylor has been, this is his biggest test. So I think to myself, well, if he's going to have himself some trouble and Tom Brady's going to have a field day against that secondary that has been pretty, below par this season, then it's really going to be on, Carson Wentz to win that game, whether or not, the Indianapolis Colts succeed. And if it's up to Carson Wentz, I'll take my money with Tom Brady. Thank you very much for that question, Dilo. Thank you. Moving on. Tyler Keenan says, what is your opinion on this trade I did? I traded Joe Mixon for Hunt and DK Metcalf. My other running backs are Najee Harris. Okay. Wide receivers are DeAndre Hopkins, Keenan Allen, and now DK Metcalf's in my flex. Thoughts? I'm okay with it. It does help improve your team in the flex position. But the fact that Joe Mixon has scored 2 touchdowns in 3 consecutive games, I don't know if I would have traded him because it just seems like he is on a tear and isn't really stopping anytime soon. So that 20-point production kind of every single week is most likely going to be there. You just got to hope that DK Metcalf comes back to life this week, which I'm anticipating. But if he doesn't and Russell Wilson begins to stall out here, that could be a now. So we'll see how it kind of pans out, but hopefully it's a W. We'll see what happens this week and going forward as to whether it pans out correctly. Phil sends in a question, says, what is this exactly? Reason I'm win limited at wide receiver is because A.J. Brown magically got injured, Davis is out, and Emmanuel Sanders played. What happened to A.J. Brown? He's dealing with a chest injury. As to the details of that, that's pretty much all I know. Are the Eagles' defense and Matt Gay okay? Yes, they're great. Eagles' defense is my number 2 with the remaining defenses, and Matt Gay's top 3, I think. Let me check here. In terms of my top 5 defenses remaining, New England, Philadelphia Eagles, Carolina Panthers, Houston Texans, Baltimore Ravens. Followed by quarterbacks, top 5, Nick Folk remaining, Justin Tucker, Greg Joseph, Matt Gay, Chris Boswell. Thank you. All righty, let's see here. Freddie Garcia says, trade away Montgomery. If yes, who? Is Mooney a start rest of the season? Yeah, Mooney's a start rest of the season. As for Montgomery, it doesn't make sense. When you play against the Detroit Lions, we all know that they're supposed to find success, so it doesn't make any sense in that regard. As to who, whoever, you can find that'll give you an actual decent running back that you can start every week. Let's see here. Curtis sends in a question. Let's see, Curtis. Okay, Curtis says, my kids, Madison and Camden, are watching with me on the big screen. Okay, awesome. Can you tell them to share their toys? Yes. Guys, help your father out. Please do him a favor. Share the toys. And I'm sure there will be more toys to come when Christmas and Santa arrives with some gifts. So just give it some time. Santa's on their way. You got to be, it's nice to be, listen, me and my brother used to argue all the time. We still argue. But hey, that's your number one. That's your best friend, okay? So be nice to them. The gifts are coming. Don't worry. Maybe a puppy. We'll see. All right, moving on. Sorry, Curtis. Moving on. We have Eddie Gutierrez saying, Barkley going to eat today. It's just a statement. All right. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. Let's see here. Okay. What do we got? I think the next one. Okay. What Bandit says, Higgins or Ayuk PPR and why? Cam over Stafford. Yes, I do prefer Cam over Stafford. The running ability, on top of the fact that it's an easier matchup, leads me in the direction of Cam Newton. As for Higgins and Brandon Ayuk, the reason why Ayuk had such a great week last week was that Deebo Samuel just wasn't utilized in the passing game. 2 targets, 1 reception. I don't know if they'll be able to do that every single week. I think this is way more of a competitive matchup against the Minnesota Vikings in comparison to the game that they played against Jacksonville last week. That just was a one-sided affair. So I think the fact that Ayuk had himself 7 catches, 7 receptions, 80 yards and a touchdown is fantastic. But I don't know if that is something that is going to continue with Deebo probably getting more utilization in the receiving game. That being said, the question about Higgins and why I prefer him right now. With Joe Hayden being out, again, like I mentioned earlier today on the episode, they're going to have to take their number 2 corner, move him to number 1, and the number 3 corner becomes their number 2 covering Higgins. Listen, it's got to be, that's just free points in my opinion. Now, it's a matter of whether or not he gets targets, of course. And it's the same thing with Ayuk. If the opportunity is not there for these receivers, they're not going to find success. And that's mainly the reason why we keep chasing after opportunity every single week, regardless of position. Targets, attempts, that is the moneymaker in fantasy. So for right now, I'm rolling with Higgins. The matchup just seems a little bit easier for him. And Ayuk, again, it's kind of, and on that another, he burnt me so much this season that he's got to double prove it to me for me to believe it. Isaac Maximoff says Eagles or Texans defense. I'm going Eagles this week. Thank you. Let's see here. Auntie Slayer 187 says, good call playing Diggs and Gallup and leaving Brown in the flex. Now he's likely to play, and I have Elijah, but he plays early. What do I do? I'm going to play Hollywood there. Even if Elijah Mitchell is going, I'm playing Hollywood Brown. Thank you, Auntie Slayer. Let's see here. Where are we at in terms of that? Okay, Justin Wall sends in a donation. No question attached. Let's see if I can find it. Anything in the chat, Mr. Wall? Nothing? Okay. There wasn't a message attached. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, couple questions in this chat. Mr. Freedom Fighter Lee says, pick up Philip Lindsay. I don't think it's a terrible option, but then again, the only way that Philip Lindsay gets a crazy amount of work is if Myles Gaskin somehow gets hurt. So that would be the only regard that I'm kind of, that's the only reason you would ever pick him up is if he gets starting work, and I don't think that's going to be the case. And that offensive line's not very good either, so it doesn't really help. Manolo says Eagles or Tampa defense. I prefer Eagles this week. Thank you. Let's see here. Young Jordy says, I feel like Keenan's floor is better than Jamar Chase's ceiling is so high. I feel like Keenan's floor is better, but Jamar Chase's ceiling is so high. Yeah, that's just the fact. We can't do nothing about it. I mean, at least Jamar Chase has a 10-point floor and a half PPR. I honestly think that his floor might be higher than Keenan Allen's, to be honest. Because if Keenan Allen doesn't score a touchdown, I mean, he's in trouble a little bit there. Or doesn't have that huge 100-yard game, you know? Okay, so Trey sends in a question. Says, Javonte Williams or Judy in a full PPR? I would play Judy. Thank you. Justin sends in a question. Ayuk, Judy, or Waddle? Waddle's my suggestion there. Thank you very much, Justin. Joey says, Deonta Foreman or Dontrell Hilliard? For right now, I play Foreman unless it's a full PPR, in which I would play Hilliard. Follow-up, you had Flex 2, Jacoby, or Kareem. I play Kareem Hunt over Jacoby Myers. Thank you. Elliot says Pittsburgh or Eagles defense. I'd play Eagles. Kareem Hunt or Ayuk. I'd play Kareem Hunt. Chris, thank you very much for the kind words. I appreciate that. Full PPR. Tyler Lockett, Elijah Moore, Aaron Jones. I mean, to be honest, at this point, Mr. Fortnite, again, if Aaron Jones plays, you know, that's the risk you have to be willing to take. If he plays, he plays. But honestly, I think you're better. I mean, okay, here's my suggestion. For your specific scenario, guys, if you have the ability to pivot off of Aaron Jones, you might want to risk it. You might want to. But in this specific scenario, right, you have Tyler Lockett and Aaron Jones. You can technically wait till you get to the night game or the afternoon, 1:25 p.m. PST or 4:25 p.m. EST. You can wait till you get to the afternoon game. And if Aaron Jones is inactive, then you could play Tyler Lockett on Monday night. You're good to go. Otherwise, you could play Aaron Jones and you're fine. Okay, cool. But only you have that ability because you have that other option. Not many people have the privilege of being able to pivot in that regard. Houston's defense or Pittsburgh? I currently have Houston ahead of him. Again, I'll reiterate. Just go ahead and read it off the top. Top 5 defenses remaining here. Forget it. I'm just going to read the last 10 defenses on my list. Here we go. Excluding everything that happened on Thursday, these are the remaining defenses. Patriots, Eagles, Panthers, Texans, Ravens, Dolphins, Steelers, Bucks, 49ers, Bengals. Thank you. Alrighty. Let's see here. Okay. So let me scroll back up here. We did Mr. Okay. Let's see here. Pau says Miles Sanders, Javonte Williams, or Devonta Smith. I think it's Devonta Smith. Yeah. I would play Devonta Smith there. Pau. Who do you think are going to be the first 5 players gone in next year's draft? Probably, Taylor, Najee Harris, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Austin Eckler, something like that. Derrick Henry in that mix, depending on scoring format. But yeah, I think Kamara drops a little bit. I think Zeke definitely drops a bit. Saquon's not going to be up there. So yeah, we'll see. Let's see here. Okay. DJ Moore or James Robinson? I'm probably just playing Robinson there. I really do like him a lot this week against the Atlanta Falcons. Okay. Elijah Moore, Devonta Smith. I think I have that ranked on screen. Again, guys, everything to the left side of the screen answer your question because Jacob asked Elijah Moore, Devonta Smith. I'm fairly certain I have Elijah Moore a slight bit higher than him in my rankings. So that's what I would do. Let's see here. Roberto Robles says, half PPR, would you play Kirk Cousins or Russell Wilson? I play Kirk Cousins this week. Also, which two would you rather start? Deontay Johnson, DK Metcalf, Kareem Hunt, Terry McLaurin. Longtime supporter, thank you. No problem, Roberto. Thank you very much. I appreciate the support. If I'm starting 2 out of that group of 4 players, Deontay Johnson and DK Metcalf are my suggestions in that regard. Thank you. Mr. Luke Roach says Rashad Bateman or T. Higgins. I think it's a tough one. I agree. I think they both have baselines though, and if one is going to score a touchdown over the other, then certainly they'll have the potential upside. But I think they both have pretty similar floors, and if you just want to play one over the other, you can certainly do so. Grace says 2 questions: full PPR, Van Jefferson, Dontrell Hilliard. Okay, if we're playing in a full PPR, it's probably just go with Van Jefferson. I think Hilliard could be great, but there's also a hidden gems curse. So, and I believe in it. So let's just play Van Jefferson in that regard. Follow-up question to that. A better defensive stash for week 13. Cardinals at Chicago or Vikings at Detroit? All right, good question. Let's go look at the schedule for week 13 real quick. Actually, no, I'm not even going to look at the schedule. What are the options here? Cardinals at Chicago is probably the best one. Yeah. Or Vikings at the Detroit Lions. No, just give me the Cardinals defense. They've just been more consistent this season, Grace. Why Elijah Moore over DJ Moore? Wait, do I have Elijah Moore over DJ Moore? No, I don't. Okay, cool. So what was the question here? Why Elijah Moore over DJ Moore? He gets so many targets, more targets. What? I don't have Elijah Moore over DJ Moore. Okay, anyway, a couple donations got sent in. Okay, I'll come back to the chat in a second here, guys. Let's see here. Devin sent in a question. Devin says, Ayuk or Ty Johnson? MVS, Boyd, Devonta Freeman. Out of all those options, if we're playing in a half PPR, it would be Devonta Freeman. If we're playing in a full PPR, you would play Brandon Ayuk. Thank you. Let's see here. Sid Ramesh says, Rashad Bateman or Kareem Hunt? I would play Rashad Bateman there, Sid. Thank you. Luke O'Reilly says, start 3. Elijah Moore, Barkley, Patterson, A.J. Dillon. Listen, dude. You have to play Patterson for sure. I want to play Barkley, and I want to play A.J. Dillon, and I'm going to probably leave Elijah Moore on the bench, which hurts, but you got 3 really good running back options there. And the touches, the volume that they're seeing as of late, kind of leads me to think that they're probably, I mean, they're not technically safer because, of course, A.J. Dillon has the looming potential of somehow, some way, for some reason, you know, them deciding to start, what's his name? Aaron Jones, even though he doesn't need to play this week. But either way, Barkley, Patterson, A.J. Dillon are my suggestions. Thank you. Troy Parker says, Mike Williams or T. Higgins? Mike Williams. Thank you very much, Troy. Mike Williams. Miles Diaz says full PPR. Gronk, Mitchell, Aaron Jones. Considering you can wait, you should. So what does that mean? Mitchell and Aaron Jones play at the exact same time, 1:25 p.m. PST or 4:25 EST. So you can wait and see. If Aaron Jones plays, you can play him. If he doesn't, you're playing Mitchell, and you have the ability to pivot. Thank you. George Kemp says Waddle, Elijah Mitchell, or Higgins. I'd play Waddle. Thank you. All right. Who's Eckler's handcuff? You know what? That's a really good question. I mean, to be honest, you would think it's Roundtree. Justin Jackson's been hurt. Joshua Kelly hasn't done anything. It's probably Roundtree, it's really, if Eckler goes down, there isn't a singular player to pick up his position because they can't. So it's kind of like the situation that we see with Tennessee, where there hasn't been a singular player to be able to pick up where Derrick Henry left off. And I think that would be a very similar scenario in which, if in fact Eckler was to go down, God forbid, please, do not happen, please, knock on wood, that we get a scenario in which we're good to go. All right, cool. Coming back into this chat, I think we've caught up on donations. Thank you. Okay. Javonte or Lenny? I'd play Lenny in a full PPR, Brandon. Thank you. Or Brendan. Excuse me, my apologies. James Robinson or Cordero Patterson in a full PPR? Man, I thought about this earlier today. I think I'm still going James Robinson, but I love me some Cordero Patterson. I still go James Robinson, though. Thank you. Bourne or MVS full PPR? Precision building? I'd go Bourne. Jarek says, who can I go out and get if I'm trading away Kelsey? I need a running back. I mean, Kelsey's been, like 15 points per game in the last couple games? So if you could probably find someone that is scoring maybe like 16, 17, 18 points per game, you might be able to get some value out of it. So you probably go get a pretty good running back. I think it's safe to say you could probably go buy some of the cheaper ones, but in terms of, upside guys, I'm sure you can go get some of the other low-key pretty good guys. Let's see here. Thielen or Chubb? I'm going to play Chubb there. There is always the enticing part of a full PPR with Thielen if he catches the ball like 8 times, but I don't know if that's a guarantee. Do you trust Jones if he plays today? I'm assuming Aaron Jones. If he plays today, do I trust him? I don't even know how much he's going to play. But if he plays today, I'm going to have him in my lineup. I can assure you that. I don't have that many good running backs on my teams to where I can pick and choose, you know. Lockett or Pittman? I'd play Pittman there for the culture. Bateman or Ayuk? I'm pretty sure I have Ayuk ahead of Bateman. Moving on. Lanny Javante or DJ Moore, full PPR. I'm fairly certain I'm going DJ Moore there. Thank you very much, Brennan. Let's see here. George, I answered your question. We're going Jalen Waddle there. Okay, let me update this to the bottom of the list. A couple donations got sent in. Let's see here. Oh, you know what? That's funny, dude. For the culture, I honestly was just reading the chat and I answered your question. You sent in a donation. I appreciate that. Nonetheless, I would play Pittman over Lockett this week. Thank you. Jacob sends in a question. Jacob, let's see where your question's at, my guy. I don't know why my thing's not updating. Here we go. Jacob. Hadida says, Elijah Moore, Mike Williams, Brandon Ayuk, standard league, choose two. I am playing no, scratch that. I am sitting Ayuk. I am playing Elijah Moore and Mike Williams this week, Jacob. Thank you. Rock out. Flex 2, Javonte Williams, Judy, Bateman, Jeff Wilson Jr. If I'm playing 2 in the flex position, I am playing both Denver Broncos. I'm playing Judy and Javonte. Thank you. The next question comes in from... what is this? By Zinski says, need to. Van Jefferson, Bateman, Claypool. Claypool and Bateman are my suggestions. Thank you very much. All right, let's see what else the chat has to say here. All right, MVS or Goddard? I'd play Goddard there. Lockett, Brown, Sanders. Probably Hollywood Brown. Tennessee defense, Green Bay defense, or Pittsburgh this week. I'd play Pittsburgh. Bateman or Kareem Hunt? I'd play Kareem Hunt. A lot of these questions are ones that I've repeated earlier today from questions that were sent in. So I'm just going to rip off anything that I've seen and already mentioned because maybe you just hopped in, you know. Just trying to help you guys all out. Ozzy sends in a donation, says I need to drop one. Jeff Wilson Jr. or Latavius Murray. I drop Latavius in a heartbeat. Ian sends in a question, says full PPR, Mike Williams or Kareem Hunt in the flex. I'd play Kareem Hunt. Thinking about playing Mike. Okay, here's the thing. If you want to just go ahead and wait a week and let's see how it goes about, then by all means, we can wait. Let's see what Kareem Hunt does. But I don't want to be in the scenario where, like I was last week, where I didn't start CEH and Miles Sanders. I had them ranked really too low for my own good, and they come out and they take full-time, potential workload, and they're just dominating. I just feel like the only way for the Cleveland Browns to win football games is by running the ball, getting back their starting all-pro right tackle, and getting back one of their, vital pieces, one of their 2 vital pieces on this offense. I feel like they're just going to continue to pound the rock. Now, Mike Williams, don't get it mixed up. He scored a touchdown last week, but in the weeks prior, where he wasn't scoring points, guys, let it be known. Defensive pass interference against Darius Slay on the 3-yard line, would have scored a touchdown, literally pulled down Mike Williams so he couldn't score. The following week after that, literally gets a target on the 5-yard line, is 1 yard short of scoring a touchdown. Falls short because he's gang tackled by 6 dudes. There is potential for Mike Williams. So it's still certainly out there, but I do prefer Kareem. Anyway, so you could play Mike Williams. Go for it. Check it out. All right. Couple more questions sent in. Troy Ars says, should I play Taylor or Pittman on the same team? Yeah, why not? They're both fantastic players. The entire point of fantasy football is to put together the highest scoring team. If you don't think one of these guys is going to score more than potentially some of your other respective prospects, then you can go ahead and swap them out. But I think they're fantastic plays on the same team. Why not? Bardia says Pitts or Cooks. I think I answered this earlier. I think I'm going to go Kyle Pitts there. Thank you. Next question. Ideen says Hilliard or Ty Johnson. Hilliard or Bateman. I'm going to play Ty Johnson and Bateman over Hilliard. So in both scenarios, we're sitting Hilliard this week. Bai sends in another question. Bateman or Claypool? PPR need one. I play Claypool. Thank you. Are the backgrounds rankings? Yes. It's not full PPR. It's half PPR. Like I mentioned throughout the week. Again, what the heck happened? Did you get burnt? What happened? I usually meet everyone in the middle. So if you play in a full PPR or a standard, half PPR is kind of like the middle ground. But yeah, that is currently what is on screen. D Money says, can someone help me in the chat, Moore or Waddle? I play either Moore over Waddle this week in a half PPR. Thank you. Why don't I like MVS? I mean, how good has MVS been in his career? Like, actually. Like, when has he actually had consistent performances over a long period of time? That's my only question. Like, it isn't even like a shot at him. It's just like Aaron Rodgers, as much as he complains about not having a good wide receiver too, he really doesn't target a number 2 wide receiver enough to make him relevant. Now, maybe it's just a matter of where MVS isn't good enough to deem those targets be, sent in his direction. But I don't know. I just feel like he just hasn't done anything. If I'm not mistaken, let's go look this up. Let's go look at Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Career stats. All right, so let's look at... Okay, so this season alone, outside of the 20-point game, the last time he was good was week 3, where he had 13 fantasy points. So he's had 2 good games this season out of the 6 that he's played. 2, decent, okay? Last season, 16 points, 0-0, 17 points, 0-0-5, 22, 18, 2, 1, 4, 6, 1, 7, 17. He is a boom or bust player. He's pretty much a better version of McCole Hardman. And in the year before that, 18 points, followed by 6, 2, 6, 20, 0, 0, 0, 0.9, 1.2, 0, 0, 1.1. Inconsistency. That is the issue that I have. And the Rams actually have a good defense. Or secondary, at least. Moving on. Nathan J. says, Sanders or Dillon? In a standard league, Jones may play. Listen, if Jones is going to play and you're worried about it, play Sanders, you're good to go. Otherwise, I prefer to roll with Dillon. I'm chilling with that. Troy Arce says, will Taylor take Pittman's opportunity to go off? No, Pittman's opportunity is purely based on what exactly that defense does. It's not really imposed on Taylor, because if that defense stacks the box with 9 players, then of course Pittman's going to go off regardless. So I think you're fine there. Cam Newton or Russell Wilson? Cody, I'm going Cam. Godwin or Dillon? I'm playing Godwin. Felipe. Waddle or Mike Williams? I'm playing Waddle. MVS is a roll of the dice. Exactly. David Ramos says, should I start Fant or Freiermuth? I prefer Fryer. But if you want to play Fant, you can. It's a good matchup. I just think Fryer, everything's going for him right now. Can someone in the chat help me? Do I play A.J. Dillon? A.J. Dillon's a matter of whether or not you can potentially risk it. I mean, I don't think it's a risk. I am of the opinion that Aaron Jones is likely to not play. Now, if we get in a scenario where he doesn't play, then A.J. Dillon's a fantastic position. But if he does play somehow, some way, then many of us may not have the ability to pivot. So if you have someone that is of equal or similar value that is on your team and you feel like, you know what, let's just not risk it, let's go ahead and play this player, then you're good to go in that regard, okay? Do I wait to start Elijah Mitchell or start Ramondre? I believe Elijah Mitchell's playing. About 6 hours ago, there was an article posted on ESPN saying that he is going to play. So I think Elijah Mitchell's good to go. Conklin or Thomas? I'm fairly certain I have my Logan Thomas ahead of him. Devonta Smith or Bateman? I have Devonta Smith higher. Bardia sends in another question. Pitts or... Actually, no, we already did that one. What the heck am I saying? There was no new question sent in, right? Cool. Very good. Elijah Moore or Waddle? I have Elijah Moore higher. Everything that you guys are asking pretty much is on screen, guys. I'm just saying. It's on screen. So, Andrew Clark's question, Devonta Smith or Bateman? Devonta Smith's higher on screen. Jacoby Myers or Hunter Henry? That's not on screen, but I would play Hunter Henry. Jacob sends in Miles Sanders or Freeman. I mean, Miles Sanders is higher on screen. You're good to go. Mitchell or Moore, that's not on screen, but I play Mitchell because it's a standard league. Actually, you know what? Oh, man. No, just play Moore. Play whatever Moore it is. 1 minute warning. Yes, true. Typically, we have the 2 minute warning here, but nonetheless. Full PPR, though? Yeah, even in a full PPR. Yeah. Yeah. I mean... When have you ever seen Bateman get more receptions than Devonta Smith this season? That's my question. Like even in a full PPR, for sure you play Devonta Smith. Hilliard or McKissick? What does it say on screen? That's literally the entire point of it, guys. But hey, listen, I do prefer Hilliard over McKissick, just to give you verbal confirmation, okay? Pittman or Ayuk? What? How could we not play Pittman, right? I would play Pittman there. Patterson or Cooks. I would play Patterson. I probably missed it. Rodgers or Cousins. I'm still playing Rodgers there. Again, it's on screen, guys. It's on screen. Yeah, come on. All right, 10 a.m. Thank you, everybody. Everybody give themselves a round of applause. We made it to 10 a.m. The last 2 hours have been very interesting. Ladies, gentlemen, children of all ages, I appreciate you guys supporting the channel, making it out here today. Tomorrow, we'll talk about some waiver wire pickups for week 13 of the 2021 fantasy football season. Enjoy your Sunday. Enjoy fantasy football. Enjoy football as a sport, okay? You know, regardless of what happens today, just enjoy that we get to watch football every weekend, and we're blessed to do so. Happy birthday to Carlos, who said it was his birthday. Whoever else, if it's your birthday, enjoy the day. You know, we only have a limited number of birthdays you can enjoy. So enjoy it. I think another question got sent in from Mark. Mark's a good lad. Says, rank rest of season PPR. Logan Thomas, TJ Hawkinson, Pat Freiermuth. Rest of season, TJ Hawkinson, Pat Freiermuth, Logan Thomas in that order. Thank you very much, guys. All right. We're good to go. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for the kind words in the chat. Until tomorrow, which should be a very interesting Monday. I'm already going to tell you, Matt Breida is probably one of the top running backs to pick up. Okay, keep that in mind. Either way, enjoy the games. Let's hope that everything goes according to plan. It probably won't. You know what will probably happen? Absolute chaos. That's the only thing guaranteed on Sundays, guys. That's the only thing guaranteed. Chaos. We saw it on Thursday. We'll see it once again today. Embrace it. Enjoy it. That is why they play. If they knew the results before the game started, we wouldn't play. But that's how they play the game. Thank you, everybody. And until next time, I'll see you guys. Peace.